Tell them run it off.
What is going on? What is going on, everybody in the house? What is going on? Wake up in Cleveland every single morning.
I wake up, flex, thumb down that check. No drip, this wet. Tell them run it off. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it off. I wake up, flex, thumb down that check. No drip, this wet. Tell them run it off. I wake up, flex, thumb down that check. No drip, this wet. Tell them run it.
What is going on? What is going on? I got to see if I'm in focus, which I am not. So we're going to fix that real quick. There we go. That is a little better. What is going on, everybody? It's Wake Up in Cleveland. What is today? Today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, so we are doing interviews today. Interviews, Q&A. We're doing a little bit of everything. So we are going to get started in just a minute. In case you guys did not know, I do have Lucas London. Thank you for the name. Thank you for the compliment. I do have Jason Jenni. He is SCE event. He is the kind of the founder and kind of the man behind it. So as a lot of you guys know, some of the country, most of the country, has been working again. So I have been working, East Coast, West Coast, but it's different now. It's way different now. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today when we do bring Jason on. I'm excited to have him. We had him on maybe a few months ago, but we were dead in quarantine, so things were a little different then. Now we got him on, so we're gonna do a deep dive here. Let's do a little room check in the building. Let's see who's in the building. No music today because I'm lazy. Normally I would have something on, but I don't have the computer on. Maybe I'll put it on in just a second here. We got DJ J Rivas in the building. Freddie B, Lucas London, DJ Queso in the house. What's going on, fam? Good to see you. T Diesel, that's one of my mods. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out today. Mike Hitman, thank you. Appreciate that. Who else we got here? Mixmaster GNL in the building. My man from Amsterdam, from the Netherlands. He's somewhere over there. I always get it wrong. I think it's Netherlands. I'm almost positive it's Netherlands. Ratbone in the building. Hey, Ratbone has a job, so he may or may not be in. It is what it is. And when he can show some love, I appreciate it. If not, I appreciate that too. SMC in the building. Good to see you. LP Liang Productions. Hey, what's going on? Greetings from Guatemala City. Guatemala in the house. DJ Accurate. And who else we got on here? Big Styles. Oh, did Mixmaster already reply? Hold on. Let me see what he said. Yes. Well, don't worry. We miss Ratbone's wit, but we have T Diesel to go above and beyond. That's kind of T Diesel's thing. Ratbone is like smooth wit. T Diesel's like, take it. But we love him anyway. Okay. I think I already said Big Styles, DJ Echo 780, F105 Darwin, J Style Sounds, DJ Elemental. Who else we got here? Mr. Demand 76 with the Twitch Prime subscription. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, fam. If you guys don't know, for everyone on the Twitch side, you can subscribe for free just using your Twitch Amazon Prime Twitch membership. It's very simple to do. You just click on there and it asks you who you want to give it to. If you want to give it to me, I won't say no. The real DJ Freddie B says, I love it when you're talking about equipment of my brother as well. I went ahead and purchased those Ring 12. I think he meant Rain 12 MK2s and also the Pioneer 12 mixer. Somebody's balling. Good choice, though. Great setup. Great setup. But don't worry, it's not like I'm getting a commission or anything. Wouldn't that be great? People are like, I just bought a Rain 12 and S11, and all of a sudden I get a check for like, 20%. Ah, would that be great or would that be great? Uh, uh, I think that's Libapass tuning in from the 818. Hey, that's my stomping ground. 818-805. That's where I am. Ventura in the building. Chicago in the building, says DJ Freddie B. Okay. DZ smoking that thing. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. And who else we got on here? DJ Queso, you're on another level. So if you haven't seen, we've brought DJ Queso on a couple of times, and if you have not seen DJ Queso's studio, it's ridiculous. And I think his studio might also be his living room. So basically, think of your living room and then fill it with DJ equipment. Just fill the whole thing up with DJ equipment. That's where he's living. I'm surprised he's still married. I'm honestly surprised. DJ Six in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, who else we got here? Okay, so as I told Jani to come on at about 12:15. That's 12:15 PST. So he'll be on in just a second, and that's the way a studio should be. Look, I have never. Okay, I had studio stuff at one point when I was in an apartment. But as soon as I got my own room, oh god, I went crazy. I mean, like, this is my room. I couldn't do this anywhere else in the house. Nowhere. Not to mention, I would have to deal with noise and kids and people screaming. Look, I have a 9-year-old, I have a 15-year-old, and I have a 23-year-old. So when I say and I'm married, and I have 2 dogs and a cat. So when I say that there's constantly sound, constantly just like random annoying ass noises, I'm dead serious. It never stops. Never ever stops. Like it used to be when they were younger. I knew that around 10 o'clock, like that was my time. I could just go turn on the TV, watch a movie, do whatever. That was my time to do whatever I wanted. Not anymore. Nobody ever goes to bed in my house now. Not even the 9-year-old. Everybody's just up, wandering like zombies through the house. And it'd be fine if they were quiet zombies, but they're loud as hell all the time. Bumping into stuff, running the ice maker, hitting the microwave, pulling out the drawers of the refrigerator. It's just nonstop noise all the time. I have to pause my movie. They know it now. They're like, uh-oh, Dad paused his movie. That means we're being too loud. Anyway. DJ Mike Hitman, hey, thank you so much. He says, I always listen to your show. You give good advice. How can I put my music in order? Stop duplicates file from Shauna. I'm assuming Shauna is either Serato or iTunes. Could you imagine if like there wasn't an iTunes, but there was literally just like a person that told you where all your files were? You're like, I need to find who let the dogs out. And Shauna's like, I got you. It's over here in this file folder. Oh, Shauna, what would I do without you? But we're not really going to talk about a lot of tech today because I do have Jason Jenni on. We're going to talk about the mobile DJ space, the private event gig space. That's kind of the key for this show. Tomorrow, I have Tech Thursday. Tech Thursday, we get nerdy, we get geeky, we get all into it. I get opinionated, and then I get dislikes on my YouTube. What it is. I am who I am. Now, normally, I guess it would bother me more if I knew that I just didn't get like arbitrary dislikes just because of who I am. There's just some people that don't like me. Eh, I'm okay with that. So when I get them, it is what it is. And especially when I'm opinionated, oh, they don't want to hear opinions on a personal channel. People forget this is a personal channel. This isn't like it's not like Pioneer is paying me to give reviews and I have a Pioneer channel. There are channels like that, but this is just me. So I'm going to do what I do. We'll talk about that a little bit too. I have my shake, so I drink my shake, and it's quite possible I might drink my water to get seeds out of my teeth. See, this is where this kind of microphone really comes in handy because you can't see like if I have seeds. I don't, but you know. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Give them some Benadryl. I'm gonna give my 9-year-old, my 15-year-old, and my 23-year-old some Benadryl. How's that gonna work out? Oh, that's like some flowers in the attic nonsense right here. Eat these cookies, dearie. That might be actually before your time for some of you people. Okay, so I'm not going to keep him waiting long here, but I will. Oh, you love my shirt? Thank you. This is a DJ Rick Webb shirt. He was selling them as Rick Webb does. Rick Webb is like he's like the car salesman. No, not car salesman. That's a bad one. He's more like remember the OxyClean guy? And he always had like the deal, but wait, there's more. Like that's Rick Webb. So Rick gave me these shirts. He sent me a couple of them. And by the way, some of the best fitting and feeling shirts I've ever had. So I'm not taking away from that. But Rick has got his thing, man. He does it. He does it well. You know, it's not for me, but it works for him. So it's all good. It's all good. He is from Chicago, Illinois. He is a legendary DJ. Really, DJ Freddie. Who is a legendary DJ? Let me know. Who are we talking about? Okay. See, SMC loves the shirts. They're really good shirts. Like I have my shirts, and we got them. I can't remember where we got them from. Like my partner took care of it all, and I got the shirt. It looks good, but it doesn't fit good. Like Rick's shirts do feel good, so I'm gonna have to figure out where he got his for my next batch. He's also a vendor for those both uplights now too. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Gotta make that money. Okay, so I don't know that I can go to my commercial because I don't think I have it on this Melon account, which typically gives me a little bit of time to do that. So I'm gonna take 1 minute to get on my earbuds and just to make sure that everybody's ready on this side. So just enjoy the break. See you in half a second. Okay. I think they need to fade that in a little bit. That cut really too short. Like I hit the button and it just muted automatically. So they're gonna need to fade that in. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, I do have SCE's own Jason Jenni in the building. We're gonna do some Q&A today. We're gonna talk about kind of the state of the private event space, and we're gonna take questions from all of you. And I have some questions that people have sent me on the IG side. So we're going to get that started. If you have those Jason Jani emotes, throw them in the chat. Throw them in the chat. If you have the SCE emotes, throw them in the chat. Throw them in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Jason Jani.
My
Yo,
bro.
what's going on?
Yo, you got me? Can you hear me? Is this thing on?
No, you sound great. You sound great. I'm going to turn myself up a little bit to match you. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good, man. It's good to see you. It's good to kick it with you. What's up, CT Nation in the building? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Oh man, well, you know what? We're good. We're good. It's I wanted you on because it's been kind of a weird, well, obviously it's been a weird year, but more importantly, when did you start working again? Like when can you say like was the month not the, oh, I'm doing a party on a Saturday here, but like when you were consistently working, move, and you're on the East Coast, so I know it's a little different, but when did you start?
So I think much like in California, New Jersey is a very interesting place where we have a executive kind of direction
Hmm.
that is
Yes.
very conservative, right? Like
Right.
everything has that like the world started to look a little bit better for us really in the beginning of the second quarter this year. But I would say like I started to work again
Hmm.
really in like May. I
Okay.
feel that we at SCE do a lot of events, but I think a lot of the people that I typically work for were the fell into like the group of people that were not willing to settle for like a adjusted maybe
Yes.
perspective or like universe of rules. They
Right.
wanted it specific way and they were willing to wait. So my calendar was probably the last to start
Hmm.
um at SCE, and we've had people that have been chugging along with just kind of doing what we could do to get through this the entire time.
Sure.
But really I would say like we became full throttle again really in that like May time frame, April, late April, early May, and then it's just been a whirlwind ever since. It's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, I
So
think I mean your clients are a lot like my clients, where they just were like, we'll wait, we'll push it to next year. We'll do this or we'll do that. Like it didn't matter to them, and so you work around it. But it's funny because tell me if this happened to you. All of my clients from 2020, pushed into 2021. And at first it was like early 21. And then they pushed it again because the world wasn't open. And now all of a sudden, I have these new clients, but then I have all of these older clients, and it's just like filling up the calendar, which isn't a bad thing, but it's also kind of crazy.
so the thing that makes my world a little complicated is in the time BC, that's what I refer to as before COVID. I was booking out into 23.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of people that kind of plan their day around, calendars or
Yes.
availability or whatever, which is like a thing that some people can't ever wrap their mind around, me included, right?
Hmm.
And for someone that has been sought out by people to be part of their day, so far in advance, um, there's been a lot of people that were willing to kind of make arrangements to, keep me included in the day, but there's been a lot of circumstances where the venue or other things that are involved in this complicated mix of professionals and chaos couldn't allow it, right? So
Yeah.
there's been a lot of people that I've originally were working for that now have moved to other people within the SCE company fold, which is great because they stayed home with us. But they had to make adjustments. So it's
Uh huh.
just been really interesting. In total, we moved almost 1,500 events. I mean, like it's an obnoxious amount of money and time and emotions and people and logistics and operations, and It's been crazy. It's been a whirlwind year for a lot of reasons.
And that's, obviously insane when you talk about that number. I like I'm remember I think it's Captain America Winter Soldier, and Falcon's like, I do what you do, just slower. So the same thing applies to us. We just have less clients, but I mean, I think we moved about 500 clients over the next 2 years, and now finally, people are booking out again. Like they weren't before. It was like 3, 6 months, but our normal thing was 2 years. That was our normal average. It was 2 years that they
Mhm.
would book out. So it's interesting because uh, I'm running into the situation now where, and again, for everybody that's watching here, we're multi-op, so we're talking a little differently than your single op business. But like I'm running into a fact where people had to do what they had to do over COVID, and now we're back to work, and it's like, okay, guys, I need you on this date, I need you on this date, and all of a sudden they're like, I'm not available. I'm not available. But meanwhile, those parties are still there. They still need to be worked. So what are you doing in those situations where all of a sudden, maybe you got 10 parties on a day and you have 7 people that are capable at the moment?
It's a tricky there's no one way to approach
Hmm.
the complexity of this world. I think it's a case by case basis based on like what the parameters are. And like honestly, you have to my advice to anyone and like how I think I've been able to navigate this very complex kind of like river that we've all kind of like endured is you try to do the honestly the best you can with the circumstances and the situation that you have at that time, right? Like
Hmm.
you have to look at it like day by day. You can't get
Yes.
too far ahead of yourself
Hmm.
because it's overwhelming to think that from now to the end of the year, I have 60 plus weddings myself to do. If I start thinking about that volume in the last 4 months of the year,
Yeah.
and I don't do just like basic, weddings. Like mine
Right.
are very like technical. They're very production based. They're
Hmm.
a lot of people. It's not just like me there. There could be a team of 4 or 7 or 8 or more.
Yes.
And when you start dealing with that, it's quick to get like emotionally overrun. It's like it's easy to squirrel out. So I've been someone that has taken the time to just like try to come up with the best processes and to come up with
Hmm.
some type of structure and document it. And like literally, like if someone doesn't have the answer, like it's okay. Like I think that's probably the biggest thing that I learned how to do through COVID,
Right.
and it's like a life lesson. It's like you can't control everything in the world around you, like where
No.
I did for so long. And now it's like, yeah, whatever. Like I will figure it out. I will do the right thing and we will make it work no matter what. Like that's however we have to do it. I will call someone. I don't even care. I just want it to be done the right way. I just want it to be done the right way,
Yeah. No,
to
no.
do your best.
Yeah, I agree. What has been your experience with COVID as far as like parties are concerned, and whether or not vaccinations are required or testing is required? Like, because my case has been a little insane. Now, New Jersey and California kind of operate mentally the same. So,
Yep.
like where I am, people. I mean, look, there are different pockets of people that some don't care, whatever. Even my high end clients are like, whatever, we just want to party. But then you have a lot of clients that are, I would say, more concerned about perception than they are the actual, results. So where I'll have clients that are like, well, they need to be tested. Like, okay, we can test them before your event. That's fine. There's a charge because they have to go out of their way to do it. Uh, and then all of a sudden, like 3 days before the party, they're like, oh no, they all need to be vaccinated now. And, we're sitting here going, well, first off, there's 6 other parties on this date, and they're all requesting and requiring things also. I, I can't make something work that's not there.
So I think just like California, especially like the part of California you're in, it's a
Hmm.
very diverse universe of people.
Yes.
And New Jersey, the Northeast is like the United Nations in terms of people and backgrounds and religions, but it's also a very complex state. Although, like, our governor believes one thing and is very conservative, like we
Hmm.
have pockets of people that are very pro Republican, very pro Democrat, and there's like, not getting into politics or
Of
like
course.
the nonsense that floods Facebook and every other platform out there. Cause like I really could care less about any of it at this point. It's like
I just got to work.
there's, yeah, there's people have different people believe in different things, right? And it
Yes.
doesn't matter where you sit, what you do, what you believe in. If you think about vaccines, if you agree with vaccines, if you have the card, if you don't have the card, none of it matters. Like
Right.
everyone is totally different. And I think that was another very important kind of thing, not just for myself to learn, but even for like my team at SCE to kind of learn and adapt, is like you have to become Switzerland. Like it doesn't, like, my personal views don't matter, right? Like if I want to
Yeah.
work, like it doesn't matter what I think. Like
Hmm.
obviously we try to protect ourselves. My main media guy, the guy who produces all the videos that are on my Instagram,
Which are excellent, by the
just
way.
just got out of the hospital today because he got COVID.
Okay.
We
He
all
was.
tested negative. We're all fully vaccinated. He got COVID
Yeah.
and he ended up getting pneumonia, and he
Oh
went
man.
into the hospital and he couldn't breathe. And his oxygen levels were in the 30s when it's supposed
Hmm.
to be like in the 80s or 90s if you're not feeling well,
Right.
And this is a dude who's in his 30s, who's in good shape and good health. And like, so like, my personal opinion, yeah, I don't even know if people understand what this thing really is, because it impacts everyone different and everyone
Yes.
is at their own different risk. Everyone has their own. I work with some people that are like, F this and F that and like whatever. And like, it's like there's no such thing. And then I work with other people that are like, okay, well, you're going to have to test before you come in. You're going to test before you leave. You're going to test like when
Hmm.
you go to the bathroom and take another test. Like, we're just giving tests out like they're
Right.
like Halloween, you know what I mean? Trick or treat,
Hmm.
and you just have to deal with the parameters. I mean, like we work with some venues that are very like strict and they follow the executive guidance. We work with
Yes.
other venues that are like, yo, I don't care. Like, I don't really care what this is, a private environment, this is a private setting. Like these people are willing to accept the risk of coming here. Like,
Yes.
game on,
Exactly.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's a little different when it's when it's a private and not on like government property run stuff. But and you're right though. I'm fine either way, because like again, I'm vaccinated, whatever. Not even the important thing. I guess my only issue is that it took a minute for me to get away from the stress and the frustration of I don't know if I can accommodate you to a client, because if that never used to be a thing. You know what I mean? It was always like, yeah, we'll do our best or whatever. But these things are like, look, this is what I have to give you. Either you accept it and we find a amicable way between the both of us, or what do we do? So and that's what I'm running into.
Yeah, the business part of it's a little bit challenging. I also think like what many people, especially people that are in a multi-system environment, need to
Hmm.
think about is like the what if. The what if someone who has taken the steps to protect themselves, what if they become infected? Because I don't think the virus at that point is the thing to worry about. I think the thing to worry about is that you have to quarantine for 10 days. And like, are you going to
Yes.
play and accept the liability of sending someone out into the fire with the
Hmm.
fire? You know what I mean? And like, that's the thing that like gets really complicated. We've had people the day before their wedding cancel their wedding or postpone their wedding because they tested positive. Like, I mean, like that's a thing these days, and like,
Hmm.
like when you're looking at things from a single like unit point of view or a single system point of view or a smaller kind of house of volume, I think the way you look at things is very different than when you're looking at higher, like at SCE we
Yes.
deal with clients that spend 50-60 dollars a plate, and we deal with clients that spend 700-800 dollars a plate,
Right.
and there's different, like it's very different. Like my business model is set up in a way where we try to empower our hosts to take on more responsibility so they have more. It's like a collaborative partnership
Mm.
essentially,
Hmm.
and it's done in a way where people, if you are willing to work hard, you're willing to benefit from it. But at the same time, like you also have more at risk, right? Like you have,
Yes.
when people get sick and all of that. So it's really complicated. I have things for this coming weekend that I'm still working on. I'm trying to operationalize because like things have been presented that have caused a little bit of stress in my world. And this is stuff that I never worried about because we always had someone on backup every single
Yes.
weekend, no matter
There's
what we
always a
did.
backup. Uh-huh.
Now it's like, well, where's the back? Like,
Yeah.
where are we? You know what I mean? Because you go
Yeah.
from, Thursday weddings when you're doing 8 of them or 10 of them on a Thursday, and you're doing 6 Monday weddings. Like
That's
you start to really
insane.
wear down your team
Right.
quickly. Especially when you're doing 4 or 5 of those a week. And it's insane. It's insane. It's
It's
insane.
Yeah. By the way, let's give a couple of shots out. I see Tweak Music Tips in the building. What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Oh, cool, my bro.
I saw, what do we got? MC2 J-Man in the building. Who else we got? JSX1, that's from the Hoyluck. DJ L35. One piece of information. It looks like Mixmaster GNL got confirmation that NAMM is being pushed to June 3rd through the 5th. So there will not be a January NAMM. That'll be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and it's funny because I know, and we'll talk about this a little bit too, because I know you've started to really push in your YouTube space, and I can say that the lack of expos and big conventions have done wonders for myself, as a YouTuber, because there's nowhere to you know ha- touch and feel and have stuff to review. So
Yep.
that's helped me. However, I've wanted to go to like I wanted to go to the DJ Expo, and then I got scared out of it. I just didn't feel comfortable with it. um
Yeah.
I wanted to go to NAMM because it's right in my backyard, and now it's being pushed. So there we go again. It's a tough one,
Yeah,
man.
I love going to NAMM. I think it's a cool experience, and for anyone that can get the opportunity of getting out there at least once in your career, if you're doing this,
Yes.
like it's worth just going to people watch and to see and to feel and to, I've been there a handful of times. I've played
Mhm.
there with Electro Voice. I've been part of stuff with DMS, and I've done just a lot of stuff out there. And every time I go, I feel like I connect to another group of people that I just I never had access to,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's just such a great thing to do. And now with the YouTube kind of like platform, even though it's still I feel like an infant in terms of like some of the things that I've done in my life, I just like I think that it would be a great way because I have so many relationships with so many people that are they have influence, they have
Mhm.
relationships, they own, they're part of big things, and it'd be cool to bring it all together. And shout out to Kova and Architect and Caution too. I see everybody on here, so it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's so I guess let's talk a little bit about the YouTube space, and then we'll talk about one of your controversial videos, if you could
Uh
call it that.
oh.
Um, so you started. When would you say you actually kind of got deep into like, okay, I'm going to do this consistently, like every week. This is my thing.
Honestly, I think it was last October, and it was
Okay.
because I was losing my mind. I did, I used to invest a lot in YouTube like way back when. We've always done it from a company perspective, but we lost a lot of like the traction that we had. And as a matter of fact, that's how I think Nick even came to SCE is because
Hmm.
following like these quick little tip videos I used to do way back when. And like, he kind of like learned about like what we were all about and kind of like my view on things. And I used to like throw things around and take people into my office and just try to do whatever. And
Hmm.
I was sitting here, I shut my office down. I went through this like total, it felt like my whole world that I worked like 20 plus years, like
Here.
crumbling, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I went from, I can't even talk about the numbers, a ridiculous amount of money and contracts to essentially being upside down, like almost $1 million. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
I need to like just figure out something I can do other than deal with people like literally upset about their event moving. So I just started, I was like, oh, let me, Nick's been doing well with it. I'm like, I watched some of your stuff. I just seen a lot of stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Like I think there's a little room in this on this platform for someone to talk a little bit about the business, because like from a
Hmm.
business perspective, I've done a lot. From a performance perspective, I've done a lot. And I wanted to try to start creating some content. I own so much gear that
Yes.
I don't even use, and it's just sitting at like I could help people with this stuff. And
Hmm.
I started thinking about all the things that happened in my life and all the things that, basically created opportunity. And not because I was looking to create opportunity. I was looking to say, like, if I pay it forward, I believe in good karma. I believe in things
Yes.
always
It'll come back
find their way
around.
around. If
Hmm.
I help someone, hopefully it'll find its way back into my space. And so I started laying a little bit off of my Twitch live sessions, which at that time, that platform was super flooded.
Hmm.
And I was like, I just need to start sharing this. And, I have a educational program I did with DJ Tips, like a master class and digital DJ Tips in the beginning of COVID, like it started before COVID and lasted until COVID really like impacted our world. And
Yeah.
the education stuff has always been important to me. It's always been something I like doing. So I'm like, you know what? Like I could share. And if I could help a handful of people just get a little bit further, a little bit faster, save someone a ton of time, energy, frustration, money. Like I think I've done my part to like help push our industry forward a little bit. And although it's very humbling to grow a YouTube following, it's been very rewarding to get messages from people and to just, to
Yeah.
put some of the videos together.
YouTube is a weird space because you go into it alone, and then you kind of stay alone, but yet you are, potentially you're opening yourself up to the world. So now you're getting comments from the world, and and or the responses and or the views. You're like, oh, I thought this would do better than it did, and then you have to really disconnect yourself from it, unless you're. I think the people who fail are the ones that are always concerned about the numbers. I can't do this because of the numbers. I can't do this because of this. Just do it, and if it's what you want to do, that's going to keep you sane, and don't worry about the numbers as much.
I started like paying attention to like what people were sending me. And like I mean, like before COVID, I would get hit up by multiple DJs every week that wanted to come on board. Like I would
Mhm.
get hit up with, hey, can I take you out to dinner? I have this question about this. I was getting this like fuel. And, like I try to do my part to help people, but like at the
Mhm.
same time, like you only have so much time in the day. And
Yes.
like COVID was quite humbling. I went through a finalization of a divorce from a marriage that I was in way
Oh
too
my
long,
god.
as well as
Okay.
COVID at the same time. So like, like it was a really interesting time for me as a person, right? It really
Mhm.
allowed COVID as a whole, let me think about life and even my business. Like we've done so much in so many places for so long, and we've taken on so many things that I didn't necessarily, I accepted it because we were doing it and we were successful at it. And it was like, oh, we should just do this. And then like COVID made me realize, like, yeah, you don't have to do all this. Like, you don't, if you're not enjoying this, you shouldn't be
Mhm.
doing this. Like, get it out of your space. And it's allowed me to reset a lot of things in my life. And honestly, it's just been an interesting ride on a lot of different parts. But a lot of people were asking me for questions. How are you dealing with this? How are you doing this? So I just was sitting here one night by myself, and it was like 3:30 in the morning. I think I was watching like I don't know who. I think I was watching Four Color Zach,
Mhm.
and he like because you guys
Yeah.
are West Coast, and he was like ripping. It was like a Thursday, and I'm like, I think everyone was over, and I think I was drinking, and I'm like just sitting here. I'm like, I gotta do something. I gotta switch it up. I gotta do something different. And I'm like, let me just throw it out there. And that like first video got like 20 views, and I'm like, oof, oof, that's a hard one.
But I'm Jason
And then
Jenni.
yeah, I'm like, oh, no problem. I'm like,
Mhm.
someone's gonna find value in this somehow. This is gonna help someone. And then like I think now I'm finally starting to click into a little bit of a stride,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it, but I'm not sure where I want to take it, because I feel like there's a lot of different hats that I wear, and I feel like there's a lot of different things that are like there's not a lot of people that have done some of the things that I've done. I'm not saying that like in a boastful way. I'm saying it as a like just very candid. And
Mhm.
some of the things that I've learned are not really even applicable to a lot of people. So it's like, how do I
Yes.
share this in a way that like actually
Uh,
does provide value to somebody,
well,
you know?
what I would recommend doing is if there is something that is special or maybe specific to you, but you want to get it out there because maybe it'll hit, 3 people out of the 100 people that are watching it. Uh, Build it into another thing you're talking about, and then that way, you can keep the numbers and you can keep the masses that are interested in your content, but then you can also hit those other people a little bit. That'll help.
It was so funny when you're talking about like pissing people off and like it's just like the things that like I mean like I'm not I think I'm just at a point in my life where I don't have a lot of tolerance for like negativity or
Right.
like short-minded things. So
Mhm.
like there's just like one dude literally this morning there's like a short video that I put up of like scratching here in the basement or whatever, and it's got like I don't know, 100 or 200,000 views. I mean, it's got like it's getting insane traffic on the channel.
Sure.
It's like the
Right.
best thing that has hit the channel yet, right?
Yeah. Right.
Like viral, I think at this point. And we're scratching with an S11 and CDJ 3000s. But this is like when they first like literally dropped. I don't even think they were officially out yet, and they were here, and we were like scratching with them and just like messing with them and whatever. And this dude's like, scratching on CDJs, bro. Come on, bro. Turntables only, bro.
Yeah.
And I like go on his thing. He's like a sophomore in high school, and I'm like, oh man.
You're like, I'm going to invest my time and energy into a sophomore in high school, like who has
what
no
am I
idea.
doing here?
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a minute to kind of get over that fact. Now, don't get me wrong. Every so often, I'll run into somebody that just like finds a way to like just get at me in a way I'm just like, ah. But for the most part, now I'm just like, you don't have to be here. Thanks for coming, but there are other videos out there. You can go to somebody else, because I'll always get, oh, this is too much words. I'm like, hey man, go somewhere else. I'm not for everybody.
I'm not someone that needs to rip out like 1-minute videos on like whatever.
Right.
Like I'm going to take my time, explain the point. Like, and if this is valuable to you, like, and you can learn from this, and hey, it's good. And at the same time, it's helping me refine my message for like when I do my next masterclass. It's like, hey, I'm essentially practicing in public, right?
Yes.
And that's what I'm looking at it as. And you know what? I think there's a place for it. It's a very interesting. The DJ universe on that platform itself is so small, so it's just so interesting to like look at other universes and like how
God, it's to talk about getting annoyed when you're like, oh man, I'm successful, and then you look at some guy that's like showing cameras and he's got like 400,000 subscribers. You're just like, did I make a wrong choice?
This channel last month, 30 days ago, and I'm gonna make a video. It's like how I got 1 million subscribers in 27 days, and how I've monetized the F out of it. You know what I mean? Like you're like, dude, I'm not doing it for the money by any means, but it's just so funny. It's just an interesting the DJ world as a whole, and I'm not talking shit about it because obviously I'm immersed in it and I live in this space, but it's a very complex, very interesting universe of people who know everything and do not want to spend anything. And there's a lot of people that claim to be that never been, and it's just a very interesting space. So I'm not talking negative about it by any means. It's just you have to like be patient with it, and again, I believe in like good karma, and that's really like the point of me doing the whole channel and just keeping my mind in a creative space that's moving forward. So,
Mike L says, as a solo op, I super appreciate both of your videos. Screw the haters. DJ Avera said your vids have definitely helped convince me to buy the RCF Evox 12s when I was researching new speakers. So even if your numbers aren't what you think, they're always impacting somebody. Somebody is finding value in your videos, and I think that's the key. Like now I know which videos are gonna do big numbers and which videos aren't. But sometimes there's a place for them, and or you get to a point where people are sending you product and you need to review, and you're just like, I know this isn't going to do numbers, but I got to do it. So you do it, and you but uh, the facts of YouTube's are, and this is as a fact. If you try to do too much, um, you're going to lose traction. It's one of those weird things in YouTube where you really do have to stick to your niche. And almost if there's something else you want to talk about, like if it has nothing to do with DJing, you almost need to make a new channel. That's how weird YouTube is.
I wanted to do, originally I was going to talk more about business than
Mm-hmm.
DJing. And that was like
Right.
my thought. It was like, all right, small business owner, I would consider myself successful in some respects. I also think I've gone through a lot that, like, someone looking to venture off and take that leap of faith and leave their full-time path. Like, I was an engineer before I started SCE,
Oh, were
and I
you
was a
really?
DJ that got through college as a DJ, and I just couldn't shake it, right? Like, I always worked. So, like, from a tech perspective, I can get down with anyone. Like, I was like on an executive fast track. I worked in telecom, and I put myself through like a master's level education, and like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of lessons I learned along the way that, like, I use today, to operate my business. And, I look at people that I'm friends with, and I look at the things that they've struggled with, and I'm like, well, dude, like, have you looked at it this way? And it's like, no, how did you think about that? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, here's an example, and I was like, oh, I should start talking about this. But then, that space is another, it's like, I'm not into this. I'm into the space, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
into this. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like you got to be into like something you enjoy. So, like, with the DJ stuff, I feel like even as I get older, like, I enjoy crushing parties. I enjoy the tech. I enjoy the conversation of someone telling me that I'm wrong, and like being like, oh, really? Like, why am I wrong? Like, let's talk it out. You know what I mean? I have so much stuff, and, I want to not show it off, but I want to, like, if, you talk about speakers, like, there was someone that was reaching out to me about a speaker that I helped bring to market. And I was essentially just sharing my thoughts on the speaker in comparison to other speakers. I don't get paid a penny for any of that, but I took the time to, like, respond to them so that they don't make a mistake. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's going to save you thousands of dollars and frustration, like,
Uh,
sorry, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
two things, and then we'll get into the thing I was going to talk about. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to test all of the equipment. Like when I started my company, we started off buying like uh, the first speakers we ever bought were the JBL JRX carpeted speakers, those bullshit speakers that nobody should ever buy. And we bought them. We were trying to save money, and everything we were buying, and you over time you realize, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Why did I ever buy this when we never even recouped our costs for this piece of equipment here? So you want to tell people about these things, like, hey, this is what I've experienced, just so you don't have to make the same mistakes. And then you'll still get people that know more than you. Everybody knows more than you as a DJ. That's the one thing I've learned. Either you know nothing, like you're a newbie, or you know everything. There's nobody in the middle. Which brings me to what I consider controversial. So you did a video on speakers, uh, room size management, and what speakers you should be using. You should bring speakers for the room, not for the people. And I and
It's
it's
like
for
DJ 101, engineering 101, like common sense 101. But so many DJs, like, I literally I can't even process that I'm having this conversation, but I went on one of the forums, and they're like, well, here's hold on, let me pull it out for you guys. Here's what I used. I used these great blah, blah, blah for this speaker. And I had, 300 people in the room. And I'm like, bro, like, if I, in my world, I wouldn't use that if I had 300 people at a cocktail hour. Like, it's not enough. Like, you're missing the point. Like, just because you could hear the speakers on the other side of the building, it doesn't mean that that's
feel
the
the
right
speakers.
fit. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like, people get interesting, and people get heated about the platform that they use to DJ on, Serato
Yes.
versus virtual DJ. People get heated about like my brand of speakers is better than yours when like most of the time people are using subpar stuff. It's not even the right stuff. And they're talking about like how they're doing it. And it's like, and then people get heated on about lighting systems and cable management, which I understand presentation is everything, but in the mobile DJ space, there's a lot of people that are using like basic level lighting and they're using it in like almost auto mode when
Right.
it's capable of doing so much
You
more.
can
And these are like
DMX it.
3 things to get me like fired up. So like, these are 3 topic ideas that need to hit the channel. And I think you're giving me the catalyst here to make it happen over here on this Wake Up in Cleveland
Mhm.
vibe.
Yeah.
But
No, and because when I first heard it, in my brain, so I understand both sides. My brain said, well, it depends. It depends on the situation. But then the other side of my brain said, it depends, but he's not wrong. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, like, especially during COVID, when we first started working again, every single party was in somebody's backyard. So
Totally
even if
different.
they had, all these people, your monster system is going to be too overkill for the 12 by 14 dance floor they put on the grass. You know what I mean? So it's like, in my mind, that's what I was feeling. Oh, well,
Yeah.
hold on. That doesn't apply to everything. But then again, I get it. If the room is too big and they're spacing people out and you bring your, like I use the Bose L132 for a lot of the smaller events. I
Mhm.
use it. It sounds amazing, but it's not for every event. It's not for every party. And so what happens is you might get that sound on the dance floor, maybe, but then the rest of the room, people sitting down chatting, you've completely disconnected because they can't hear or feel anything you're doing. So now they had no interest in actually getting involved with the party. So, there's give and take, but I completely understand what you were saying, but I was
You know,
also go ahead.
I was gonna say ideally, like if you really think about it high level,
Mhm.
right? Like a room that could accommodate 125 people should be a certain size. So like you can use that as a general
Yes.
rule, right?
Hmm.
But like people are using it as the only rule when they're deciding on investing. And that's the purpose of me making the video. And maybe I should have maybe clarified that
That
more. But
that's
I
the key.
gave
That's the key word, though.
2.
Yeah.
Right. And I gave 2 examples of how even I should have done things or could have
Hmm.
done things different. And I used an example where I did 120 people in a room that could accommodate 400, and I had plenty of sound for the room. I had plenty of sound for the dance floor, but I needed more. Like the
Yeah.
party could have used more. And then I used another example where I had no production, but I was at a concert venue that was equipped to do like a small stadium or greater, and we had 230 people, but we were like literally at level 2 or
Hmm.
3 on the master system. And
Right.
it was like shattering your lungs, like how loud it was. And it's just different, right? So like I guess the point of what I was trying to say is like, people are like just trying to get enough. Well, typically I do events with 100 couples, so like I should only have these, but like that's limiting you in a lot of different ways. And that was like my point of the video, and I was trying to be very candid and very honest and also very like real
Yeah.
with this whole
Yeah.
thing.
People get offended with real. They want it to be sugar coated. And I don't think I am on your boat. I don't sugarcoat. You just need to be how and say how you are. Um I but I think one of the things that I think you kind of hit the nail on the head was investing, because like you, I have multiple speaker setups that I can use. I can go with my SRXs. I can go with the JBL. I can go with the Eons. I can go with the powered, a passive powered system, because I have that. But not everybody has that, so they want like the one true system that will power everything. But then they don't want to pay for the one true system that will power everything.
Yeah,
So you got,
at DJ times, I was looking at the CVS system, that the L
Mhm.
acoustics line array, and I played in that I played on that system twice. One was an after party in the Bahamas, and it was like the stack was 35 feet away from me, and it sounded. It was one of the most impressive small systems I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it
Okay.
blew my mind how it sounded. But the price tag MSRP is like $56,000 for two
Mhm.
sides. So like, right. So you're going from like, okay, I'm talking about using a, a $3,000 stack of RCF, top and bottom or
Mhm.
whatever, to something that's costing $26,000 a side. It's a big difference, right? And like, when we look at these things, like everyone, I think the point of that whole video was like, you have to understand like how you DJ, the people that you're working for and what's being asked of you, but also like what you're capable of doing. Like when I do events, like I set up my own gear, but I also have an army of people with me. Like it's not ever just me there. And like, I'm not pulling up in my SUV, ripping the speakers out and throwing it outside. Although like through COVID, I've done that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So like it's a different thing, right? Like when people are like debating how they're going to spend the only money they're going to spend on speakers in the next 6 years, and they're looking at things from like one very small angle. Like I felt like it was my job to put this video out there, and like people were like, people were mad at me for that. Like people were sending me some messages like, I can't believe you say that. Were you talking to me, bro? And I'm like,
Really?
it's okay. Like I'm a big boy. Like I'll tell you if I'm talking about you. Like I will call you out. I will share it on Facebook. I will do whatever. But like I wasn't flagging one person. I was just saying like I observed a bunch of these things, and I'm like, I just want to do my part to show you a different way to think about it. And I'm glad you watched the video. Thanks for the support. Hope to see you another time. Like trying to keep it positive.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Look, you can't please everybody. That's the one thing you learn real fast on YouTube.
yeah.
That's you're just like it is what it is. I am DJ King George. Hey, thank you for the subscription. Appreciate you. Chris England, thank you for the subscription. And Elemental, thank you again for the subscription. Appreciate you guys. I see there's a whole big chat going on about computers. So tech stuff, that kind of deep, we'll talk about on Thursday. Or if you want to, DM Mixmaster GNL, he'll take care of you too. Good guy. He's a good guy. So okay, I do want to ask some questions because I threw it up on I don't know if that was me. I threw it up on IG and I got some things here. Let's see what we got.
I'm gonna send some subs out to your community right now.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Let's just juice it up a little bit. I'm proud of seeing all the goodness that you do, man. You got that check going, everything. I remember when you first hit that, I was like, yeah, that's dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and it's funny because I just started doing the Wednesday show now. So my Wednesday numbers are actually, lower than they used to be. But it's just because I literally just started this up last Wednesday. So but I've just been so frustrated lately with work in a good way. It looks like we started up a hype train. Thanks to Jason Jenni with the hype train. Appreciate that.
cheers, all.
So you guys know what to do. Support the channel, support what we're doing here. Throw in the subs and the bits. We appreciate everything that you can offer. So thank you. DJ Blazin, Mixmaster GNL with the bits. Thank you so much.
Diesel too. What's up, man?
Yeah, what was I just about to say here?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, so basically what happened was the reason why I asked you on was last week the quarantine DJs, the guys, Rick Webb and God, I can't think of names right now. Anyway, the quarantine guys.
Bars in that, Eric's in that, right?
Bar, Eric, Rick Webb, yeah, all of them. Yeah. So just says, hey, just kind of checking in on you guys. How's everything going? And I literally just kind of commented, dude, I'm about to rip out my no hair and shut this business down. I'm so tired right now. And I thought it was literally just me. Like, okay, clearly, I'm just experiencing something that is different from everybody else. And every single one of them was like, oh my God, I'm running into the same thing. Two of my guys got COVID and I got 5 parties tomorrow. I got to figure out who I'm going to send. I thought it was the California thing, but this is like, nationwide. This is a big issue. And then the thing we're running into is, as much as I love the clients, they're being very, very, very difficult. They're very needy right now, and a lot of them aren't. They're not. What's the word I want to say? Their expectations are exceeding, the level of product.
I know. I mean, I don't know if it's because of COVID. People think that they've endured so much, so now they're entitled to that much, or like I'm not exactly sure. I've never had to like. I've never. Okay, let me say it this way.
Sure.
I've never been physically threatened at an event. I when I was like 22, there
Mhm.
was like a punk at my wedding once, and he was like just trying to like rile me up, and like he was like trying to intimidate me. He was like just some dude that had issues.
Yeah.
But over the past like couple of weeks, like I mean, I've seen things where I was like, like cursed at, and like I I mean, I feel like I've you know worked very hard to get where I am, and
Of
I'm very
course.
humble to be where I am. And I've, like for the people I work for, they're very happy to have me at their events and my company there. And like we kill it. And like, but like people are just interesting. And then from another perspective, I don't know if it's that people get almost like romantic about the idea of what it could be. And because they've had to sacrifice so much to get to that day, they've thought about it so many different which ways. They've like built up this like vision in their head that
Hmm.
almost disconnects from like what even is capable for their day. Right.
Yes.
Like, and like I feel like I fuel that too, right? Because I put up these pictures on my Instagram or these videos on the SCE YouTube that
Yeah.
are like,
Look how great this could be. This party was
this
amazing. You're doing your
you
job.
have 400 people going crazy and people taking clothes off at a wedding and dancing on top of tables and throwing people in the air. And then like, if you have a wedding with 80 people, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just
Yes.
saying like
It's
the
different.
look, even if you put all 80 people on the dance floor, it's a different thing than what you see when there's 500, and people are just, it's an interesting time because people are just really difficult. And I don't know if it's because people have been now accustomed to having conversations with their computer as opposed to like in real
Uh,
life, right?
oh. Hmm.
You know, I don't know if it's like a do I dial this back to Zoom and Microsoft Teams? Do I like where is this coming from? And I'm like, I think about this almost every day. And this is not like a one that just UCT or just Eric
Hmm.
Massengale. Shout out to Eric. It's everywhere and it's with everyone. I deal with photographers that are like at the end of the rope. Like I don't like and super ridiculously successful business owners like at parties like in almost tears because they're like at their breaking point
Hmm.
because it's impossible to get done what they're asking of them, and the part that I think fuels me a little bit or gets me kind of like a little fired up is like when you work for someone and you you essentially pull off what would be short of a miracle and you execute to perfection and you
Hmm.
program meticulous and you crush the party and you check every box A plus perfect perfect perfect
Hmm.
and at the end of the day like you don't even get a thank you, which is like
Right.
a twisted thing to kind of go through because like I don't care about the $1,500 tip or the $1,000 tip or the $800 tip. I care about the freaking thank you more than I care about the money at this point because like my mind works differently than it did 3 years ago. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Where I only cared about like the
Yeah.
financial, the money, my moment. Now it's like more like, oh, like I kind of want the appreciation more than
Yep.
anything. I think at this point, which is crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. By the way, before we go on, I just want to shout out the hype train. We hit level 5, 120%. Thank you guys so much. Philip Tan with the bits, Rico Stees, the Elo Show, J Style Sounds, Joshua, DJ Avera, DJ Blazin, Mixmaster GNL, Jason Jenni throwing out the 20 piece. Jesus Christ, man. Appreciate you, fam. Uh, yeah, King George, Chris England, Mr. Demand. Hey, everybody here. Thank you guys for the support. Appreciate you. It's not why we do this, but it obviously, helps and keeps us pushing because, monetary is always a good thing if you can. It's not required, but it's appreciated. But yes, I agree with you. It's a tough time. Rob Ryan had said specifically, a lot of money stuff's going up, costs are going up.
Yep.
My question to you is, because I have done this already. I had to raise my rates when I went through the financial. Every system that you use typically has some sort of reporting, and I just decided to go through. I'm like, let me just see what we're doing now, and I realized that like we were taking huge hits, across the board, and we had to raise our rates. Transportation costs more. Like everything just costs more now. The employees are demanding more money. So it's like, we had to raise it. It's not like ridiculous amounts of money raised, but it's hey, we're back to breaking even as far as, what we consider to be a profitable business. Have you had to make any type of adjustments to your stuff or removal of things? What have you done?
Yeah, I mean, like I think COVID has allowed a lot of things to happen for me from an operational perspective, right? Like
Mhm.
I've looked at services that we offered that I maybe didn't need to offer, or that weren't
Yes.
profitable, or that I didn't enjoy, or that always caused me stress. And I essentially dissolved them from my business. I dissolved them
Mhm.
from my world. And like, there's even certain services that, because we are shorthanded with staff. I mean, like
Yes.
literally, I know there's a lot of DJs watching this. If there's anyone in the Northeast that wants a legit career, like, and you're willing to do the work, I want to hear from you. Like, I could give someone a successful, like 10-year view on being a working DJ. Like, that's my reality right now. If there's anyone that's listening to this that it wants to have a conversation with me, hit me up on Instagram. Let me look at your stuff. Let me see if you fit. And I will promise you, I will call you. I will invite you to my house. We'll sip my pool and we'll have a conversation, because there is a shortage of good, talented people.
Mhm.
And, you know, I, I have raised my rates. I've raised rates on things that I think I can do better. Like, for instance, my ceremonies. Like, at one point I was offering ceremonies for 250 or for 350, and
Yeah,
I'm like, what am I
that's
doing
more.
this
That's what I
for? I'm like,
charge.
are we
Yeah.
like, why am I doing this? So now we charge like 550 or 650 for ceremony, because like, I'll invest the money on the right gear. I will put a touch mix
Mm.
mixer in there. I will make sure we have the right stuff, and I will make sure it's executed to perfection. But in
Mhm.
order to do that half-hour service, like, I need more money. Like, it's just, and the difference between Jason this point in time versus Jason old Jason was, I look at things and say, like, I'm not willing to sacrifice doing it this
Time,
way.
energy.
Right. I don't
Mhm.
want to do it half-assed. I'm going to do it the right way. Like, oh, you like these Astera tubes? Like, cool. I can put them around your room and I'll hang them every different direction, but it costs money to do that. And like, I'm not someone that used to cut corners in general, and I feel that in my area, I'm probably one of, if not the highest price kind of like option for a lot of people, but
Sure.
you get what you pay for. And if you want this to sustain, like, I say it from a humble perspective, and it's gonna come off boastful, but like, I'm not crying for work. Like,
Mhm.
I've also realized through COVID, like, I don't need to work every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because I have a family and I have a life that I want to live now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, having a day off gives me the ability to play in a club, or to go over here, or to go visit someone, or to go out to dinner and be a normal person for once. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Or to take my kids to wherever they have to go. And like, as a matter of fact, you know what also sounds good? Sweatpants and Chinese food and being in bed by 9:30 on a Saturday. Like, that's cool with me. I'm cool with that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Obviously, if it happens all the time, I'll be a little upset. But like, you know what I
Oh,
mean? I feel like there's a lot that this world has, and you
I'm
have to
trying to
take,
make you big, and I
you
can't make you big. Yeah,
know?
I'm like, let me see if I can do that, and then you're like a midget, so
Mhm.
that's not going to work. No, I definitely agree. Before COVID, we were right at a position because my partner recognized, the whole YouTube thing, and he's like it's going to come to a point where people are going to ask you to do things, and you may not be available on a Saturday because of what you're building here. And I said I appreciate that. So we were already at that point where it was like, At a minimum, like I don't want to set up anymore. Like I'll do the party, but send another DJ, either maybe a learning DJ, to set it up. I'll come do it. If he's kicking butt, I'll leave. I'll drive to another party, see how that party's going. Like I'm okay with this. I don't need to work every single weekend. And we were there, and then COVID hit, and now it's like, oh, hey, I have to work again all the time. But so it changes everything. But but it's also like he's like, look, just put on the days you don't want to work. And that never was a thing. It was DJ Don Julio. If you're local, if you're in SoCal, send me a DM, or go to the Check 12 ENT IG page and send a message, and then they'll get the ball rolling there. Please, we're looking for quality. There's always this thing that we have to preface. I don't know how you are, but like, I don't mind people having their own DJ business. Like, I don't mind that, but I also don't want to improve somebody else's DJ business by working for me. So I need somebody that like does, I do it on occasion, but I need work every week, versus I do it every 3 or 4 times a month, and I just take your job, just for that extra. Like I need people that are willing to be there. So if that's you, give me a call. And we'll go from there. But this is how we are right now. Franchise.
I'm someone that in order to play with me in my wedding space or the private event space, especially like the celebrity event space. Like,
that's not even a question.
It's an exclusivity. It's an exclusivity. If I'm going to put you on the map, it's an exclusivity agreement. And it's one that like, I will not, like, you can book nightlife stuff. If I can't get you work, I'm not looking to monetize that, or, you can use the brand to help you build your community, like, but everything comes in. And I look at my business arrangement, which is very different than a lot of people. And people have told me I'm a terrible business owner and I don't know what I'm doing and all this stuff. But essentially what my model is I allow people the ability to have a strategic and collaborative partnership with me. And there are a couple of services that like SCE needs to manage from a production perspective, or from a financial perspective, or from an insurance perspective. But I want my dudes to buy the best lighting. I want my guys to buy the best uplights. I want them to have Dancing on the Clouds machines. I want them to have everything that we sell, so that we as a group collectively do more. And in turn, we take a percentage of that event, but we invest that money to create more opportunities. So like the funnel is always working. And I always think of my model, which is a little bit different. Like, you get paid for what you do. You do the work, you're going to get paid, and you want to hire a team of people that work for you at SCE. Like, I want you to have that. Nick has his own guy. Jeff has his own guy. Like, Tony has his own guy. Christian has his own guy. Like, we all have our own teams, but like, it's kind of like a shared collaborative, which is,
that's impressive. I like that.
A different view on things. And I think I need to do a video. I need to do a video on that, because I feel like that will help get people thinking a little bit differently about like how they work in our world.
It's hard in California because we don't have a non-compete. So you know what I mean? So we deal with that fact of like, I just can't bring you in because you can just leave whenever you want. Like I had one guy who he was working for us, didn't have a business at the time. And, every time we come to load on a Saturday, hey, what's this here? What's this thing over here? What is this thing called? And we're just, it's this, and that. All of a sudden we're looking at his IG, and it's like, hey, so-and-so's DJ company. And we're like, dude, it's literally every piece of gear that we have on our equipment. So it was like, now we have to be a little more sure. But with AB5, it sucks because
you know what the deal is. I mean, like, candidly, CT, if you have people that are willing to do that, they don't belong with you. But like, if you set your platform up like the SCE machine, if you're out for the wrong intentions, like, the machine's going to eat you. It'll figure it out, and it'll weed you out, and it'll present itself probably sooner than you would think, because like your intentions are wrong. And the minute like you deviate or you wrong on the machine stops for your road. You know what I mean? Like that. that avenue stops for you. And, you know, it's not like a thing to hurt someone. It's just the thing to say, like, yo, like, we're all in this together. And the better I do, the better the next person does, the better the next person does. And like, I'm not like an owner that like doesn't work. Like, I do work, you know, like I'm at this every day, all day. And like, you know, like we grind together. But at the same time, like, the system is set up very differently than what a lot of people have, because you know, there's a lot of people like what you said before, like going out and not setting up. Like, you earn that at a certain, I feel
Mhm.
like you earn that at a certain point of your life, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're able to command a certain number and you're able to afford it, why wouldn't you do that? Like, that makes total sense, especially if you're training someone to step up into your role at some point, you know,
Yeah.
like it makes total sense. Some people look at, you know, I read those things on the forums and they're like, "Oh, I will never pay for an assistant. Like, I'll never have someone with me at my events." I'm like, you're like, I
You're
want to just
stupid.
like, I want to reach into Facebook and literally flick him right in the eye. Like, I want him to just
Yeah.
like, I want to do something super painful to them just to be like, dude, wake up. Like, stop. It's not 1985 anymore. Like,
Mhm.
it's 2021. It's going to be 2022. Wake the F up.
Well, I think you're kind of saying it because look, everything that I own, everything that you own, it's available to each and every person out there. They can literally look at what you're doing and say, okay, give me everything he has, and they'll look just like you. The difference is they won't sound like you, they won't DJ like you, they won't have your personality. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. But you don't want that person, you know, obviously annoying you too. So they don't need to be there. But if they want to emulate you, hey, more power to them. Whatever. You
It's
know.
it's funny, right? You don't wanna, it's like you don't wanna give someone gasoline for their engine, right? Like,
Right.
and it's just, you know, I like to say though, like, which was very different. What, like, so when I started SCE, very candidly,
Mhm.
like, I thought if you had, there was like a lot of DJs like all over the place, and I would troll out, and I was like a club DJ. So like, I didn't really give a shit about weddings. I was like, "Ah, I will never do that. Like, I'm
Sure.
not doing that." And then I would like troll out and I would go on a website and they had like this really cool flash intro and it had like sound effects and it'd be like, "Choom, choom, choom, choom." And then like the beat would start, "Oonts, oonts,
Yeah.
oonts." And it was like, "Oh, we're here to do your party." Yeah. And I'm like, yo, these guys are like the best. These are the guys. Like, oh my God, they're charging 2,000. What are you like? This is real? Like, no way.
Yeah.
And then I would go to one of the parties that one of these flashy companies had, and I'm like, yo, they can't even mix two like, what are they doing? Like, I can't sit in this room. It's like I'm about to rip my shirt off because I feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Or they're like relying on these like games that just like,
Oh, the games.
it
So
didn't
many
work.
games.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is not reality. This is not gonna happen. But
Mhm.
like the thing is, like, everyone could have anything, but if you don't know how to use it, it's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you, because like the bad word, the bad feedback, the people that were at that wedding that saw it not work the right way, that the conversation goes so much further than like if you actually executed it perfectly, like the way it was supposed to be used, right? And like,
Right.
I feel like the fake it till you make it stuff. That's why like I get so heated when people steal branding and copy from a website, or like they're like, "Oh, I could do it this way," and I like, because it was like verbatim taken from somewhere else. But those are people that are not. You're stealing it because like you don't have the ability to do it. So like
Right.
you're essentially misleading people, and then when they get to be in front of you, like, you're not going to be delivering what you're claiming to be, and that's why so many people, like, the world turns upside down very quickly on, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's 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 crazy, you know, like I used to get so heated about people that maybe it didn't work out with, or that I feel like jaded me from a business perspective. But now it's like a whole different world. I'm like, yeah, that's how's
I
that grass on that side of that road right now, bro? Come on, you know, it's different if it's not done for the right reason. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I have learned, especially over COVID and running into all the circles of DJs and mobile DJs and everything. And like I didn't have an experience with anybody else on YouTube prior to COVID. It was just me. I thought it was basically alone. You'd see a bar video pop up because it's bar, but I didn't really know. And then you start to realize, um, you know, just in general, there's a lot of people that are 100% faking it till they make it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I haven't gone out of my way to show any of my skill sets because I didn't think that was important. And meanwhile, there are these people that are acting like, they're amazing. And then you finally see them, you're just like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know, but I think one question that popped up is from Mike L. DJ Mike L said, for both of you, he said, I believe mental health is super important for us. How do you guys deal or cope with stress, depression, anxiety, etc.? I can tell you what I've done. Mine's easy. Literally 2 weeks ago, I signed up for a new gym membership and I'm there, 5 days a week. And that's really for me the only way that I do my music. Because for me, keep in mind, I'm a DJ, but I also have YouTube and I also have, the Twitch. So when I'm at home and now my office is at my house, there's no disconnect. If I'm not doing YouTube, I got to call clients back. If I'm not calling clients back, I'm probably on a Twitch show. So the only way for me to get away from it is to just leave my house, go to the gym and go exercise. For me, that works for me.
I would, so I think I've always struggled with, this is a real deal, like inside Jason Jenni, kind of like,
Okay.
I've always dealt with stress poorly. I've always
Mhm.
dealt with anxiety. It's part of my DNA, and it's one of my things that I deal with from like a real deal, real life perspective, right?
Sure.
I feel that with anxiety comes depression, and I'm not someone that is depressed. I'm typically on a never ending kind of like ride. And I think honestly, that's why my company is where it is, because I've immersed myself in work to hide
Mhm.
from things that maybe had bothered me or upset me. I think with my life and the twists and turns it's taken over the past couple of years, I think the things that matter most to me are 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 setting a little bit of time up for myself every day to do something that I need to do for myself. Like today,
Mhm.
I don't go to the gym anymore because of where I live, and neighboring towns are, it's just an interesting kind of like space that I live in.
Gotcha.
But I have a gym in my garage. Like my
There you
girlfriend
go.
created a gym here. So like
Mhm.
I'll go on and I'll rip the elliptical for an hour, and like I'll sweat and it's gross, and I feel terrible while I'm doing it, but when I'm done, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
And whether I'm doing that, I mean, my YouTube channel was therapy for me, because like I needed to put my mind into something other than
Until they start giving you deadlines and you're like,
right.
damn it.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep I'm trying to keep off of like the affiliate paid for stuff, which is really interesting. But
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
like I like to I try to like do things. I try to like hang out and not work, which is something that is really challenging. Even now, like we'll go out to dinner and like people are coming up to the table, and like it's like I feel like it's like I made it, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I kind of don't want anyone to know who I I want to sit in the back corner and just enjoy
You, you,
my
you know
my,
what?
my food.
This is what I get nonstop. Like either I look like somebody,
Yeah.
or they're like, who I know, I recognize you. I recognize you. Yeah. Yeah,
And you're
exactly.
like, whatever.
So yeah, I get it. Yeah, I think everybody has their way of dealing with things. Like I had during COVID, oh man, I was doing bad stuff, drinking, smoking, like doing everything that it's like, hey, in the world, I don't know, the world is ending. Let's just go. You had this kind of pass to kind of do whatever you wanted to do for a while, and then you realize this isn't good for you. You gained, I gained, I want to say 20 pounds COVID-19, 19 pounds. So I had gained that. Since going to the gym in the last 2 weeks, I've already dropped 9. So it's
Yeah.
like, it just makes the world a difference. Just to find something, you got to exercise. DJs out there, you have to exercise. It doesn't matter what you do, but you have to, because I find that a lot of DJs are either, when they're not working, they're sitting around, and when they are working, yeah, they're standing for the 4 or 5 hours that they are, but then that's it for the whole week. That's their workout. You got to get some consistency in there.
You know what you need to get, CT, is you need to get one of these whoop bands.
Whoop bands.
It's a reality check thing, and I'm not like a tech wearer. Like I have an Apple Watch. I can't keep it charged. It's like it's
Oh
annoying.
man.
It goes off all the time. I'm like, whatever. This Whoop tracks your metrics, right? And it tells you how truly you're sleeping, how like healthy your body is. It looks like
Interesting.
things that are like way granular in comparison to like an Apple Health kind of thing. And I got it for Christmas, and it's really interesting to see. I worked with Marcello, who's like a friend of mine for a long time, and he was like, "Oh, you got to do this fasting thing," and like, he looks like Adonis, has like, he's older than me. He's got abs in places that I don't even know that you have muscles. I mean, he looks amazing. And he sacrifices a lot for that. And like the first thing he said was like, you need to change your sleeping habits. Like you're all messed up because you're not sleeping enough. And I typically would sleep 3 or 4 hours a night. That's it. Like, and I think I was functioning fine. I mean, like I'm crushing it. I'll drink caffeine and I'll get through the day. And like,
Right.
like I started shifting things around a little bit, and it's amazing how it impacts your overall world, and talk about working out. Like when you go to set up equipment and you're like soaking wet because you're out of shape and you're just moving speakers around. Like
remember the first party you went back to? First party?
You're like, what is going on? Or I just had this this is a custom suit, like it's not fitting right, and like that's not okay, and you want longevity in this industry, you need to stay relevant from a music but you also need to stay fit, because no one wants like that ultra dad bod DJ crushing their party. Like the older you get, things get it's I hate to say it, but presentation matters, and like you have
100%.
It's you got to stay dialed in. No 27-year-old bride or groom or couple wants someone that's like a sloppy mess at their party. Like it's just, I hate to sound so hurtful, but like it's reality. I've had it happen to me. People discounted me because they thought I was too old, or they looked at one of my guys and like, I don't want to work with him because of this. And you're like, oh my God, like you're so but like that's the world we live in. It's not like I'm making it up. It's like what we've been told. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I mean, I have, especially for our industry, because I don't want to say that weddings have a little bit more of a past, but like the bar mitzvah industry is all about youth, and you have to look a certain way, or the people are just going to automatically shut you down. So anytime, like my partner, I'm like, hey man, I'm going to the gym. He's like, I know, I got to get back, because he's like the top dog. But when you start putting on pounds, people see it. People see it. Now, we're not saying you can't be a big DJ or a big MC. That's not what we're saying at all.
Just, you got to take care of yourself. And shout out to Paul, because he's dope. And like I that's a relationship just like you that I'm like proud of through COVID. Like I might not even see the dude play, and I'll see him on Twitch. I jump in, I'm like, yo, what's up? And he's like, bro, oh my God, my dude, whatever. Like it's just good. It's good people. I can't wait to kick it with you guys in real life one day. And I don't know. There's a real conversation. I remember probably like 4 years ago, I got a meeting with Sujin from Scam Artists. So I go up to Epic and I sit with him for like 3 hours. And he's like, what do you want to do? What are your goals? And at that time I was playing for a lot of like big names. I was flying all over the place. I had a lot of clout in a lot of different areas. I knew a lot of different people. I was throwing remixes up every 3 days on DMS. I had a lot of stuff going on. And, he's like, what are you trying to do? He's like, how old are you? He's like, you have kids? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, how old's your daughter? I'm like, At that time, my daughter was, I think she was 10, or whatever. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, all right. He's like, I'm gonna say this to you, and I'm gonna be very like candid with you. And he's like, pretty soon, like your daughter is gonna be like the age where she goes out. So like you're going to spend all this time trying to recreate the wheel and to get to where you can easily be right now just doing privates. You're trying to enter a world that we play in, and I'm trying to enter a world that you play in. You know what I mean? So like
Yep.
you need to like figure out like your path. And I feel like like that one meeting, I always say this every time I see Sujan. I'm always like, bro, I so appreciate like the clarity on that, because like I was chasing all these different dreams that led me down these very dark alleys that are very different places in the end, and that meeting like really woke me up, and I really like left there. I went there with like every intention to like do some big stuff and to make
Yeah.
something happen,
Yep.
And he's like, I want to do you a favor, and I'm going to tell you this. Like, and he was like, why do you want to do this? He's like, you're my age. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're sitting on top of this thing that is insanely
Yeah.
successful. Like, what are you doing? And he's like,
Because
and it was a wake up call that I was just like, I literally sat there. I'm like,
huh. It's funny because I have found, and it seems like a lot of DJs, mobile DJs, especially because I think that just in general, DJs get a bad rep. So, mobile DJs kind of follow the same thing. Oh, yeah, my cousin's a mobile DJ. He does my quinceañera in the backyard, blah, blah, blah. They don't understand that there are levels to this thing. And I remember to this day, I worked for a guy for 10 years before I started my own company. And he fell into this. He was a Chicago private events guy, fell into like one of the big, okay, so Heart to Heart
yeah,
out of
yeah,
New York. Okay.
yep.
So Heart to Heart had a Southern California branch. Okay. And it was successful out here. It was one of the biggest ones out here. And at a certain point, he fell into kind of ownership. Like they bought it out and it became H2H. And that's where I worked for 10 years. During those 10 years, while he was running things, anytime anybody would ask him, what do you do? What do you have? He would say, oh, I'm an actor. Oh, I'm this. Never once did he say anything about I own a private events company, because he wasn't confident in it. He was embarrassed by it, even though it allowed him to not work at all. He could just stay at home and build his dream house. He could do all these things, and he's embarrassed about his job. And I think we are always looking for that other level. It's like the basketball player that wants to be the rapper, and the rapper that wants to be the basketball player. Like, we're always looking, it would be great if I could do this. And then you stop and you say, but this thing that I'm doing right here is also paying from the mortgage on my house and my kid through college. I should be happy with that.
The thing with like the mobile, I feel like I've worked 15 years of my life to try to impact that stereotype that you're talking about.
Yep.
And in a different way. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just not who I am, And I think a lot of the things that we've done at SCE and the relationships we've built and the clients we've been able to work for or with was because like we were able to connect to them in an authentic way, right? Like we didn't sell it the wrong way. It wasn't whatever, And I think there's a big difference on having a door open once and having a door open multiple times, right? Like working for someone and not doing a one-off for them, but doing their events for 10 years, for 5 years, for 4 years. And it doesn't matter if it's a family, a company, a celebrity, an athletic organization. It doesn't matter. It matters that like you got the, because I think that's the hardest thing in our industry to do. And I think for like the people that hide behind something that either they're not proud of or they're embarrassed of, or that they don't know how to spin the right message out from, the likelihood of those doors opening that second or third or fifth or 20th time never happen. But when you own it and you're confident in the world, like I remember I used to tell people that I was like, when I left AT&T, I gave my resignation to the COO of the company, and I was
Okay.
like, I'm going to start an entertainment company, and he
Mhm.
was like, I'm sorry, are you okay? You know,
Right.
like, this is what you're gonna be a DJ? I'm like, yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. I've done stuff here and there, and he was like, right. This is like for real. Like, you want to be a DJ? Like, you want to do parties? And I'm like, yeah, yeah. I'm not talking about like the electric slide. Like, I'm not talking about a poorly fit tuxedo. I'm talking about like creating something really special. And I'm
Yes.
talking about doing this and making it relevant and like being whatever. And he's like, well, like if it doesn't work, and it's probably not going to work, you always have a place here. You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
I remember I worked for Yeezy for a while, and like I remember talking to Virgil, and he was the reason why our company is named what it is, because like
Mm.
he's like, I'm gonna tell you something, and I was like, I'm gonna say this to you, and I'm gonna say this to you like how it is. And he's like, you sound like you're a white middle-aged wedding DJ with the company name that you have. He's like, you do more than that. He's like, so you got to think about like how you're leaving this impression on people when
Mhm.
you introduce yourself. And I'm like, literally like, this dude's giving me a lesson in life, like right now. You know what I mean? Like, you have to like, you don't know when these nuggets come into your space, but like, I believe this successful people in the private, in any space, club space, private event space, Twitter space, YouTube space, you name the space, I don't care what it is. It's the people that live it, that literally love it. They live it every day and they're true to themselves. The people that are like doing it half-assed, or they're emulating, or they're copying, you only get so far because you can
Mhm.
only open up the doors so far. Like when you're full in, when you're full on, when you actually care, when you literally live for it, you might not be successful right away. It might take a long time to kind of like get the snowball over the mountain, you know, and to get the ball rolling in your direction. But like it will happen. It's just a matter of time. You just have to stay at it, and to be consistent is everything. And that's what's going to open the doors up again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And if you're faking it and you're not doing it the right way, that's when the doors never open up, when you're pretending to be something you're not, you know, and everyone's taking jobs that they shouldn't have done. But like, you know, you look at that dude that you're talking about from H to H, like if he owned it, who knows where that
Uh-huh.
whole universe could have been. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
he did it the right way, and like he literally embraced it and sold it to everyone he talked to. I mean, like it could be a 7, it could be an 8, it could be a 9-figure business at this point, and you never know. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because like it's just crazy. So like I don't mean to sound so high level and so like, you know, soapbox-ish, but like it's, you know, I'm so like drawn into that because I feel like that's part of the problem with our world, you know, and like everyone has the ability to do a lot, you know, and like you don't have to be a club DJ. You don't have to be someone that scratches. You don't have to be relevant on Twitch to be successful and to do something big. You just have to like love the shit out of it and like be willing to do anything and want it more than you want to breathe, or you want, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
have to be willing to do the work.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
and and
critical.
and be true to yourself.
Yep.
You know, yeah. If you can be truly honest with yourself about who you are, where you are, what you're capable of, how you're growing, your plans to get there, uh, everybody around you will understand and appreciate that. You know, if because you know, there's look, everybody has levels to what they do, and you know, I've even had things where somebody's come up to us and like, "Hey, can you guys do this?" And I've said, we haven't done this before, but you know, we'll look into it, we'll see what it takes, and then we'll let you know. They could have said, "Oh, you've never done this. Never mind. I don't. I'll just hire somebody else." But they had confidence because of the other things that we've done, because we've been consistent with everything else.
And you know what's even the bigger thing? This is like this is the level that I think I hope that one day more DJs get to, where like you get proposed with something
Mhm.
and you say, you know what? I can do that. But for maybe a little bit more or maybe a little bit less,
Mhm.
I can get you this dude that I know who is the best at what you're looking for. And like you literally bring someone in to play an event. You bring in the right person to like perfectly align with that opportunity, and then like you become the go-to for that person, or you know what I'm saying?
I
Instead of
got a perfect example. We
yeah.
got a last minute party that's actually not even here yet. It's in Jesus, I think it's next week. Anyway, it's a huge 40th in Palm Springs for some Facebook guy or whatever. Uh, he wants a full on like EDM 3-day weekend, you know, huge thing, like that thing, right? And so this party planner, this high-end party planner calls us. She's like, okay, this is what we have. You know, guys, can you guys do it? And we're like, yes, but the budget's going to be higher because we want to make sure that we can get who we want. So what I ended up doing was we booked it, we gave her the number, and then we took it to our resident like EDM people we know and said, hey, are you available for 2 days? Full, expenses paid. You get, you're gonna get paid well. You're gonna kill these parties because it's like a 3-party event. And they took it, and it's like we know that like I can do an EDM for a few hours. But when you're talking about, no, we want it to be like EDC and we might need to go 2-3 hours over what you're expected. Now we're in a situation where I'm like, okay, now I don't feel comfortable. I'm going to run out of music before not know what to play. So let's bring in somebody that knows how to do it. And in that way, everybody wins.
It's an interesting concept that I feel like so many people are not willing to do that. There's so many people that are like, yeah, I could do it. I'll do the research. I'll create a playlist. I'm going to stack this folder up so that I win. And like, you can do that. Like as a DJ, you should be able to do that. But at the same time, it's like, if you bring in that one person that like legit connects,
lives in it,
party, and like will take it over the edge. Like you're not only hooking and building a relationship with someone that who knows where that's going to go from a friend perspective, but like you're also taking care of someone in a way that like no one else will. You know what I mean? So you're just literally like, for me, I see SCE doing what we do now, but eventually moving into like more of a talent management organization. That's like what my goal is for all of this. And like, I don't know how it works. I don't know how it's going to play out over time and not anytime soon, but like, I'll say it here because like, I know that's like my destiny because I have so many good relationships with so many people in so many places. Like, and I'll do favors for anyone and not ask for a thing. And I'm not asking for someone to do that back for me, but like, I believe that I've created a lot of great relationships with people based on like the right things, right? Rather than just like whatever. And like people, do whatever. And like, I look at things saying like, all right, well, in the private event space, the higher you get into that budget world, when you start working with these planners that have unlimited budgets and like, it's basically like you design it. Like these people that are making the decisions, some of them are not even capable of finding the right talent. They just want to deal with people that they work with and trust. Right. So like you being the link for that is like a very interesting place. And I believe that it's sustainable, but maybe not yet at this point for me. You know what I mean? Like over time, I could see it going that way, but I wish more people would think forward than not, I guess, in our world, because so many people are so close to the chest. I'm not letting this out. I don't want people to see what I do. When I first started SCE, I used to put these like 30-minute videos up of me crushing a party with 300 people and track spotlighting and TV screens, and people were like, "What the hell are you doing? Like you're giving away your secrets." I'm like, my secrets. Like I was a secret DJ. Like my secrets, like I play with the music to get the people out of control. Like figure it out,
Yeah.
And it changes from party to party. And
like, even if you could take your whole 30-minute set and put that on their party, not going to get the same reaction because it's a different party. You were reading a room, and that's why you gave them what they needed at that time.
It's that moment. And it's like those videos still exist on YouTube on like the old SCE accounts. And like I never took them down for reason, because I'm like, like my story is consistent from the beginning of time for me to now. It's like we do the same thing, just different. You know what I mean? Like that we've got more toys, we've got more tools, we've got more technology, we've got more people, we've got more access, we've got more everything. We've come up with processes, but like that's evolution, right? Like, and I don't know. I just feel like there's just so many unknowns in the near term in so many different places for me because of COVID, right? We don't know if the
Yeah,
world's
we
going to
don't
shut
know.
down. We don't
Mhm.
know, like I have I almost signed a lease on an office, then I pulled it back, then I found the new office, and I'm like, this is a much more reasonable place than what I used to have. My office before was 4,500 square feet, 14 private offices. It looked like a club. It was, you walked in and you're like, what is this? And, the space I'm looking at now is like 1,200 square feet of office, 3,000 of warehouse. It's like,
Mhm.
this is like, I mean, it's beautiful. It's going to look really nice, but
Yeah.
it's so
It's
different
not the
than
same
what
though.
we had.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think COVID has taught us that we don't have to live so lavishly to bring in those clients that we want to bring in. Because I think as you grow, and we did the same thing, as you grow, you're like, okay, I think I need this. This is what people do once they get to a certain level. And then you grow, you're like, I think I need this. People do this when they get to a certain level. And then COVID hit, and you're like, did I really need to do all of this, or maybe just this?
You're
You
like,
know?
I fed the monster everywhere.
Yes,
I'm like,
right.
what we need. I can, how many sparklers can I buy? Oh, I can buy 12. I can buy 18. I can buy this. I can buy that. Let's just keep it going. Oh, we need a new van. No problem. Let's just go buy a new van. I mean, like the world I lived in, I feel like, but the funnel never stopped until COVID, right? Like, so
Right.
it was just
Right. So yeah, you didn't see the dollars drop, and you were like, "Oh, we got to make some changes." The money just stopped coming in all of a sudden. You're like, "I have to make changes," but you never saw the trajectory, go down. It was just makes more sense now that you don't
It's so
need all that.
crazy. Even when PPP came out, I'm like, I didn't understand it. I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, there's no way I'm doing this. And I'm like, and then it was like they're closing the program, and I'm like, I think I gotta look at this. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta look at like what can I work out here? You know what I mean? And it
Hmm.
was like, oh wait, I'm proud to say, like, I never had a loan for SCE. Never. I
Yeah.
never took on debt. I
Neither
took
neither do we. Yeah.
and I bought things and sold it before I had it. I did like I built this business with hustle and care, and like, then I'm like, oh, I can get an SBA loan for like 150,000 for like 1% that I don't have to worry about really for like 10 years. Like, okay, like I'll take it. Like, cause I was like, I don't even know what else I'm gonna do, like it's so humbling to be like, yeah, not worried about. And I'm saying this like I'm being very candid, but I'm not saying it to be boastful or to be like irresponsible. Like it was just, like when I flew first class because like I was flying so much, like I could do that. And
Yeah.
now like you look at things different. I had every music subscription to every platform that exists things I didn't even use. And I did it like my company had access to some of this stuff. And like, it was kind of like, oh, we need it, just buy it. Like blah, blah, blah. And like it's a different the whole COVID situation was like a reality check. It was like literally like splashing cold water on your face and like stop. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
and you look at everything, you're like, yeah, okay, so like, what do I do now? You know what I mean? Like, how do I
Exactly.
do this? How did I get here? You know what I mean? Crazy.
Yeah, it is. So LP Ling said, clients here meaning audio, hear you for your music criteria, not for your equipment. It is important, though, but you can have the best gear. If you suck as a DJ, you are not worth it. So, yes, you're right.
And
Right. You want to take this one?
I would say like you're absolutely right. Like I think you need that, but it kind of goes back to what I'm saying before. If you have all the pretty things, you're going to get the call
Hmm.
before someone that doesn't have the pretty presence or the easy to navigate website or the Instagram with the pictures on it that were curated speaking to that specific type of event.
Yes.
If the likelihood of it going past that event is few or far between if you were a great DJ with limited technology or flash, I should say, from a
Mhm.
social media perspective, it will take longer for them to build their business than someone that has all of the toys, because the toys are what sometimes people are seeking, because they assume that you are capable of mixing records together.
Yes, right.
You're capable of playing the songs that they want to hear, because they're going to give you a 35-page playlist of things that they want for their party. They're going to assume that you can do all of that. When you drop the ball, or when something doesn't work properly, or that, when they actually get to that event and the things are not working the way they want, and that person goes on Facebook or Wedding Wire or The Knot or on Instagram and throws shade at the business because they dropped the ball and they spent all this money on this thing that was not what they expected, that's where like doors start to close quickly. So I think like you could look at it two ways. The person that does the right thing but has limited production and no ability to send that message out to the world, it's going to take longer for them to build their business than someone that has some of the assets at their disposal to create the content and to have all these pretty things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the
And
message.
and he said something else, because I want to kind of follow up on this one. He says he has all the stuff that works, but if you don't know how to read the crowd, people are not going to hire you. So this is what we're saying. You're talking about somebody, I guess, at the party, maybe watching you going, oh, he's not that good of a DJ, whatever. I'm not going to hire him for my party. We're saying, though, that them having all the stuff is going to get them in the door faster than another person who doesn't have the stuff, regardless. Because perfect example. So I have this one competitor who is full of technology, you know, wall to wall screens, all that kind of stuff. And he's like, he calls himself, he's Disneyland, and we're like Knott's Berry Farm. If you don't understand, Disneyland's the top, Knott's is kind of crappy. So he would say these things to clients. Oh yeah, we know Check One Two. Yeah, they're good, but we're the Disneyland of it. That was his thing. So for a while, he was the only one with this humongous screen. Now, that's a huge selling point for some people. They see that, they're like, oh my God, video stuff and mixing. He's got all these cool graphics on the screen. That's amazing. So every time a client would call me, they would say, well, he's got this. What do you have that's like that? So automatically, now I'm having to qualify myself because he has that. Not do you DJ better? Do you do this better? But what do you have that's like that? And I would always have to say, look, we don't have that screen. We have something similar, but not like that. But let me ask you, you were at the party, right? And they're like, yeah, okay. How much did you dance? Well, we didn't really dance that much. You drank and you ate, but you weren't on the dance floor. No, not really. That's the difference. I'm going to get people on the dance floor. But had I just had the screen, it wouldn't have been an issue. They would have just called me and booked me. You understand what I'm saying here? So there's just, you're potentially creating more work for yourself, even if you are the better DJ, just because you aren't marketing yourself like the other DJs are.
I feel like over time, the better DJ will themselves.
Agreed.
It'll grow. It's just going to take longer. There's an experiment that took place in LA, right? With Payless Shoe Store. It was something I showed this video when I spoke at the Wedding MBA like 2 years ago. And this video hit home to me because I feel like you can draw the analogy to the entertainment world so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, Payless Shoes set up a boutique of this new designer in Hollywood where they got like a place on Rodeo Drive, and they took $30 sneakers and they marked them up to $900. And they had this big opening event with flash and sizzle, and they had everything there. And they had all these people coming in saying, oh, I bought these shoes. They're so perfect. Oh, like, and they're like talking about it. And then literally while they're being interviewed, they're like, yeah, so this is a social experiment. How would you feel if we told you that those shoes are $34 from Payless? Now they've already paid for the shoe. And you watch this mind thing go on with these people. And this is like the same thing that you're experiencing here, right? Like, it's like you can present anything the right way. If you don't have technology at your disposal, you can present the things that you bring to the table that far outshine anything from a technology perspective.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what people are not educated to know what the difference is between a
Yes.
JBL speaker and an RCF speaker. They don't
Correct.
care what kind of microphones you use. They don't care what kind of lighting you use. They care about what it looks like. That's
Yeah.
all that they know. And they're going to expect that you understand how to mix music, that you have the right equipment. If you're charging a certain amount, they expect you to have that. They expect that to come with the service. That's like what they're buying, you know?
Yeah. They don't
So-
care the microphone, but they care when it's cutting in and out.
Right. It's when it doesn't work properly. That's when
Yes.
they care, right? Like no one cares about like I've never gone to one event my entire life where like I gave someone a microphone to give a toast and they're like, oh, this is a Shure microphone. Dude, no. As a matter of fact,
Sennheiser or nothing.
writers from the biggest of big, and they're like, it could say whatever it says on it. And then like you get there the day of, and they're like, whoa. No, they don't even care. They literally look at. They're like, "Oh, those are Yamaha speakers.
Yeah.
That's dope. How do they sound? They sound good." I'm like, awesome. They're like, great. Like, no, it doesn't matter unless you're at like touring grade level people. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah. Let's see here. So I'm going to go back to the questions. Because I kept you on for a while now, and I appreciate you being on. By the way, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I'm good to like 5:30, so I can go for like a half hour. 25.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So let's go to some of these questions. So this one, I'm not going to say who asked it yet. Who is your favorite DJ on SCE?
Oh, that's a shitty question. I can't even answer that. It depends.
I'll just say it was Nick Spinelli that asked the question.
Nick is so funny. Shout out to Nick, man. He said I messaged me. He's like, yo, you're on Cleveland today? I'm like, yeah. He's like, cool. I'll drop in. I'll support. I haven't seen Nick pop up in the chat anywhere. So
No. But that's okay though. That's Nick. He was probably he's DJing for 4 hours last night. He's probably exhausted.
Funny.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. How do you choose your songs based on opening, prime time, and ending of the night?
That's a good question, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on I guess it depends on the event first off, right? Because the way I would approach like a club vibe is very different than a private event.
Yes.
If we're talking about private event, I think a lot of it weighs in on the conversations that led me to that party that I've had directly with the people that hired me for that event or the guest of honor. And I think also it depends on who's in the room. I mean, everyone's worked for a couple that was like, we're doing this party. It's going to be insane. We want house music all night long or whatever the genre is.
Yep.
And then you get there and all you see is like silver in the crowd. Right?
Yes. Right.
Everywhere. And you're like, oh,
Yep.
like not going to work. Like we can get there, but it's not going to work because like, depending on your background, depending on your religion, like certain things become offensive quickly to other people. And it's like, they don't even have the knowledge or the ability to think past what you're doing at that moment in time. The minute you turn them off, they're never turning back on.
So, so this was from it's DJ Rez. Pro tip: if you see a whole bunch of gray hairs in the audience, silver hairs, play to them first, and then they'll let you play whatever you want later in the night.
I usually, that's kind of like my secret sauce. I would say I always try to influence the people that are the hardest to influence at first, which is usually the parents. So like I look at, the age of the couple. I try to figure out how old the people are that their parents are or their friends are. And you probably never going to get it right, but you can get a general gist of where they are. And you can see basically like what they asked for on their music stuff beforehand. And like, you literally just have to like think outside the box. Like, okay, well, these dudes look like they drink a lot and they look like they're about like my parents' age. So like, what's my dad going to get down to? You know what I mean? Or like, what's my neighbor? My neighbor likes that stuff. Like maybe I'm going to play a song, but I'm going to not go like super old. I'm not going to do like Van Morrison. I'm going to do like Journey, or I'm going to do like something from like the early 90s. I just want to see if they're going to move to it. And then I'm like, all right. So like, I kind of got them. They're singing the words to KC and JoJo. So like, okay, like I'm kind of like dialing in that.
Their heads are kind of doing this a little bit. Got a little
it's
foot
like
tap in the corner. You're like, gotcha.
you play around. Wait, who said I never called them? Jason, you
Uh,
never called me back. Sup, bro?
IQ.
IQ. What's up, man? Was I supposed to call you? I don't even know. I gotta look at like, I don't know.
Let's see here. DJ42 says, as a young DJ that's trying to grow his following, what's the best way to gain fans and be successful?
Consistent, man. You got to be consistent with whatever content you're able to release easily. If it's Twitch, it's got to stay consistent on Twitch. If it's YouTube, if it's Mixcloud, if it's your Instagram, like you have to stay consistent and you have to take the time to respond to people that are like, that are supporting whatever it is that you do. If someone blasts out and shares your mix, comment back, thank them for that. Like literally do whatever you can to get in front of as many people as possible and just see what sticks, see where you're getting attention or you're able to build from, you know, like I look at like platforms like Instagram and from the beginning, I was like crushing it and crushing it and crushing it. But like my target demographic, that's where they sit on Instagram. And now people like gravitate towards TikTok because they just like let the story scroll, you know, and
Right.
like, you know, so you look at things and like you think about Facebook and people that are younger are not using Facebook, but like everyone does check Facebook. Everyone uses it different, but a lot of times decision makers are the ones that are on Facebook. So like you have to think about like your path and you can only, I would say like invest in one area all in and then start to like move into like other places.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. DJ Steve says, would you agree that QSC is the pioneer DJ of speaker brands?
Would I say what?
Would you agree that QSC is the pioneer DJ of speaker brands? I guess the best.
I'll be honest with you. I was sent a truckload of QSC years ago, and I used them on 3 events, and then I returned the entire. I literally called QSC to take the entire truck back. From my,
they're like, no, you can keep it. You're like, I don't want it.
I don't want it. I'm not. I think QSC has an affordable product that a lot of people use. I think they have certain technology pieces that absolutely are like incredible. Like the Touch Mix mixer system, I think is an outstanding technology platform that they brought to market. And I think they won that for me. Like I own a bunch of them. Like you can't get them anywhere. I literally will try to scoop them up as I see them. But I'm not a fan of like the K systems, you know, and it's not like me talking stuff. It's just like I think there's a lot better for the same price or just a little bit more, you know, and that's just
their amps are great.
Amps are great. Absolutely. The amps are great. But like QSC to me is an amp company, right? That entered the speaker game like long after. And like the amps that they used to make are like bulletproof and they're super.
I still have box. I moved into powered systems, but before that I was passive. So I had, you know, QSC 2050s and 4050s in every rack. I've never had to even get them serviced. You know, they're 15 years old, still like rocking.
Crown, like, but that's an old game. Like the components on the speakers, I'm assuming are still at that quality level. I'm just, for me, the sound. I've never been.
It's the tuning.
From a negative perspective. I'm just keeping it real. Like the sound that comes out, like they need bigger drivers. Like they need bigger components to support the sound, and the sound needs to be fuller. It's like they're missing certain frequencies if you listen to the sound, you know. And I don't mean to like throw shade at them because I like the people at SCE, at QSC. I like the people that are there. Like the team is they're good for our industry. You know what I mean? And they care about the mobile DJ. Like they literally they're good, but I can't use them. I don't have anything that's QSC in my except the Touch Mix. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I will sing praises about that to the end of time.
Gotcha. DJ John Julio says, how do both of you see your futures in the DJ industry? Fading out, that's rude. Straight retiring or going till you got gray hair? I have gray hair.
I got it too, man. It's like COVID did this to me. This is like a COVID.
Yeah, my
A
my
co-
my first kid, I was all of a sudden it was like every kid gave me more and more gray hair. Uh, look for me, look, there is this weird thing that says that once you hit a certain age, you're supposed to just stop DJing, and it's kind of been the understanding across the board until I would say recently. There's a lot of older DJs out there still killing it, like legitimately killing it
Yep.
every single day. And I think the problem was before we didn't have access to know that they were killing it. So in our minds, we were like, well, if you're not 25, you should probably stop. But now you see 50-year-olds, 55-year-olds. I mean, Jazzy Jeff is still killing it every time. They're flying him out everywhere. I'm not saying that anybody here is Jazzy Jeff, but I'm saying there are people out there that are capable of doing it. So no, I obviously from a private DJ, as I have MCs, so I don't necessarily have to get on a microphone. So if I don't have to get on a microphone per se, um, I can DJ till I'm 80 years old. It's not really going to matter because the front person is the guy with the microphone. I always say that there's a window with corporate and there's a window with weddings that allow you to kind of age gracefully. You can go longer with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say it depends. I think it depends on how you not only stay relevant, but how you take care of yourself.
Yes, agreed.
I think that there it's easier to stay present in the private event space than the nightlife space because
Hmm.
nobody wants to see like I mean, and I have friends that are like old dudes that are killing it in the club world, and you'd literally see it and be like, no way. And like
Right.
it is what it is, right? Like Diplo's 44 years old, right? Like, I
Hmm.
mean, like he looks incredible for his age. He's killing it everywhere he goes, but he's also like he's got his finger on the pulse. Like
Yes,
it depends on a couple of things, but I also think like you have to work really hard at staying relevant because
agreed.
like the sooner it happens where like a couple's asking for little Tekka or like you're asking for some artist that you're like little Dirk, what's little Dirk? Like and you start to show that you're older,
Right.
like it's gonna become more challenging. The minute like you I think for me, the time will come when it's no longer something I truly love doing. Like the minute, like, I always like reference like older club dudes that are like, I played with one not too long ago who's like a legend in the Jersey, New York kind of like area. We did this party together. And he's like, I can't, he's like, I haven't played. He's literally on a tractor mixer that tractor controller is like falling apart. He's
Hmm.
using like a 2003 laptop. And he's like, I don't like to play anymore. He's like, I got like 5 or 6 offers to play like big places in Jersey. He's like, but I don't like the music anymore. I don't like playing, a song
I
for
get it.
45 seconds. I like
Right.
to play the mix is 3 minutes long. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
'cause you're coming in and like it changed. So like I can understand, bowing out at that time because you're not interested in the party. You're not interested in so like you look at it and say, like, okay, well, what can I do? Can I be an MC? Can I host events? Can I be that planning entity? Can I
Yes.
can I go into education? Can I share? Can I coach people? Like, what is it? For me, I don't know. Like I feel like I
In
am
your
the
in your prime, Doc Holliday.
I'm still like I still got it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I love it. And I feel like it's although I have gotten older, like I feel like my parties are getting better still, and that's like weird to say. You know what I mean? Like I would expect it to get crusty, but it's not. Like it's still fun for me, and like
Hmm.
I think my time will come when it's like not when it's gray hair, not when I think when I'm physically like not feeling like I should be doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
also never want to close the curtain beyond when it should be closed. Like I want to go out when I feel like I'm on top and not like I like people are like, oh, dude's lost it, like can't be
Yeah.
don't do that. I don't want to be one of those guys either. I want to kind of do it in advance.
But I also think that's why having something like a multi-op like you do, like I do, allows you to bow out gracefully and now be the owner, be the face, go around schmoozing at parties and meanwhile you got younger DJs and younger MCs and all of these things, so you're still winning, you know? And I mean, the YouTube space is a YouTube space. There's no age limit to YouTube. So I'll do this until I don't want to do it anymore. As I tell people, there's YouTube isn't about the money. So if that's what you're getting into it, you might find something else besides DJing. You can make money on YouTube, just not with DJing specifically. So
I looked at my ad. I mean, like, I feel like I've done pretty well for like the time considering, right? I talk to Nick about that all the time. I'm like, bro, I'm like, I can't believe it's so humbling. He's like, dude, he's like, you're killing it. He's like, think about it. You're getting this many subscribers every day. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, it's just like, I feel like it needs to be more, And he's like, I'm like, I just broke $100 for like the past 28 days on like ads. I'm like, it's not even, I don't even want to like keep it there. I don't even want the money. Like, just, I'm not doing it for that. You know what I mean? It's so humbling to see that,
I put that money in another savings account that I never touched, and it just sat there. So I didn't realize as it was growing, because I never even checked this is your email. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. That's not why I'm doing this. But then COVID hit, and I had to repair a roof, and I was like, where am I going to come up with this money to repair a roof? I'm like, let me check that account. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was able to pay my roof off with it. So, hey, it all works. But either way, I think we just like doing what we do. And until then, we'll keep doing what we do. But what else can you say? DJ T Major says, what's the best way to scale once you realize it's time? So to scale up the business
slowly.
Yeah.
That's the only way I would say to do it, is slowly, and like, do not overgrow, because that will sink your business before you even get it off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have the wind in your sails, if you grow too fast, it'll break you, because the minute like you can't do something that you've been contracted to do, like it's a terrible place to be. So
yeah.
I'm someone that likes to take a long time to grow a relationship. Like, and there's no easy way to do it. And like, if someone truly wants it for the right reason, they'll stick with you, so just slow.
I grew basically one DJ party at a time. So when we first started, Paris and my partner, Paris was the MC, I was the DJ. We do bar and bat mitzvahs. So we had a couple dancers. Meanwhile, as we were moving in, we started training dancers to MC. So by the time we got to the second year, because people obviously wanted to book us, and they couldn't have Paris and I, so then it became Paris took a new DJ on, I took a new MC on. So then we had two parties, and then the next year after that, and then we bought a second system. All kind of rolls together. Then the next year, same thing happened. Now we're getting three parties. We bought another system, but this is when it got scary, because now neither one of us were on the event. So we had no control over the outcome of the event. We had to trust that the people that we've been training for the past few years, were ready to do it. And that's a tough situation to be in, to kind of know that they're going to do a good job with or without you, so.
I would say like it's one of the most challenging things I think I've ever had to deal with, because like, I've sat with people that are incredibly talented DJs who sold me the story of exactly what I wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally told me they were willing to do what needed to be done. Like, and I know they're capable of doing it, but when it's time to put the rubber on the road and like things start to drop, like, it's very funny. So like the process that we've kind of developed over time for SCE, I feel like is the only way I know how to do it successfully, because like, before someone gets to the point where like they're in such an embedded position where like you can't function without them, the machine like would eat them up and spit them out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it would never get to like that point. And it's just, it's so hard. You just have to have the right people. That's the hardest thing.
Yes.
It's like the right people, the right reasons, and you have to share some common like background or ethics or like work kind of like, drive,
which is changing now. It's not like it was, and I hate to be that guy, going uphill both ways in the snow, but the human resources are different now. The way what their expectations are, the amount of work that they want to do for what they equate to be a proper pay is just different now. So that's another element that you have to deal with, and it's tough. It's tough. Like we've had our same MCs and we've had our core group for, 12, 13 years. So they've always been there. But every time we bring somebody else new in, it's like, oh, that's right. Your drama.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the chemistry almost changes. And like
Mhm.
I learned like, like if I saw something in someone that like sometimes you have to go to the old dogs in the pack and say, like, listen, I know this might seem not right, but like here's the reason why I think this person belongs in with us. This is what I'm seeing, right?
Mhm.
Like, and some people will get jealous and will throw shade and will not support and will, but like over time, it proves itself in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as you have the right process to kind of like figure that part out. And that's the part that like, it just takes time. That's the anyone looking to grow it doesn't even matter if it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
Like
It's any business.
you have to do it slowly. You have to have like check and balance. You have to have fail safes put in place because like, like having the wrong people involved and toxic anything could like
Hmm.
you and your business financially, emotionally, could take the culture right out from underneath you. And like it could be unrecoverable. I hate to say it, but it's
No, no, you're right. People talk and talk. Negative talk spreads much faster than positive talk. We got to a point where when we started to feel that some of our older guys didn't want to work as much or had other agendas, I just stopped booking whatever number. Like my number was like 6 on a day. I'm like, I can't do more than 6. I could have done 10, but I don't trust that the 4 people are going to be there. So I scaled down to support that. And you just have to realize that it's not about taking that gig. My partner and I always go back and forth. He's like, I want to have like 20 parties in one day. And I'm like, do you know what the stress level of that would be?
I need to
He's like,
sleep at night too. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
want to be able to go to bed and not worry about it.
exactly. So we always kind of go back and forth with him. Like, no, I need to be able to feel like, okay, I have confidence because who wants that ulcer? Because you're just had to have that eighth party, and now one party goes bad, and now the whole weekend feels ruined because of that one party. So I mean, I've successfully deleted a toxic DJ I was spinning with. I'm about to dump another very talented DJ. Look, and that's another thing, because people are always saying it's not about the music, it's not about the bells and whistles, it's how you mix. Yeah, it is, but I would rather have a guy that mixes adequately, but is on time and is respectable. He's responsible, and he can handle tech stuff than some amazing DJ that is always late, that doesn't know anything about any equipment. So if anything fails, the party just fails with him. I'd rather have that. you
People
know
do business with who they like, and that's from a client perspective, but
Mhm.
also from like a colleague perspective. If the most important thing to me is someone's energy, because I feel like I could probably teach other things, and
Yes.
you either have it or you don't in some respects. But if you're willing to work for it, you can be taught it. But you're if fundamentally you're a nice person that I get along with, and like you complement the culture of the company, you are going to go further than an insanely dope, the best DJ that I've ever heard, who is a shit person who no one wants to be around, because like clients feel that too. And like,
Hmm.
like those problems are only worth dealing with for so long. And like eventually they're going to eat at you because you're going to have to bear that on top
Yeah.
of everything else that you have going on. So like for me, like the most important thing is that's why like even for me, like before I even bring someone on the SCE, I'm like, I want you to come and do an event with me. I want you to see my world. And like I want to see what they're doing. Cause if I like and when I do an event, I'm like, here's like the 101 thing. I don't care if you've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
Don't put your phone out and text someone where everyone's going to see. Don't put your hands in your pockets, and don't me mug this party the whole time. If you can
Right.
help, fantastic. But I just want you to observe, and I want you to see what we do. And like the minute those hands go in the pocket, I'm like, ding, like it's in my head. The minute that phone comes out and they're like, I'm like, dude, you're not here to play a party. You're here to just watch and support the party. And like,
and chances are you paid them for their time, right?
100%. Yeah. And it's like, they're not going out to like, Vegas for the weekend on that pay, but they're getting money for their time, and it's like a real deal working application, right?
Yes.
And like, you either pass or you fail. And if you get to the second one, we're going to do it one more time. I usually do 3 of those. And like, that might sound crazy to some people.
We do the same thing every time. Like, come see what we do before you tell me you want to do it. Like, just look around. Is this too much for you? Is this too much work for you? Like, all these little things. Are you okay with this? Okay, you are? Great. Come back again and tell me you're okay again.
Yeah.
And then
you're on it for like a week. And then like, we come back to see me, you know what I mean? And like, then we'll work, and I'll never forget that when, I keep talking about Nick and probably cause it's like a mutual contact here. And like when Nick came and talked with me, like he was like, he had all this stuff, like he thought this out. Like, he's like, this is what and literally I'm like, yeah, it sounds great. I'm like, but I've got one question for you. And he's like, yeah, what? Like nervous, and I'm like, why? And he's like, why? What do you mean why? Like, I kind of told you like no, I'm like, you told me you're what? I'm like, but why do you want to do like, why? Like, where are you going? You know what I mean? And like, and then it was just like, boom. And like, that's how that door opened up for me with Nick, because I'm like, that brought me into like where he's coming from. Right. Like the what is like, the what of what you do now is different than what it's going to be. I can tell you that, like, but like, where are you coming to? Like, why give me your why? Like, cause that's the biggest, like, same with that request video I did today. The biggest request, when someone asks you for something, people were like, oh, I always play requests. If someone asked me for a bad request, I just say, why do you want to hear that song? Like, I wouldn't play that. Like, why would you want that? Why would that work for this crowd? And then like, let them tell you. Be like, oh, because that's your wedding anniversary song. I understand. I'll do my best. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I try to be honest with people. Like, if it's something like play it, but I'm probably not like, sure, whatever. But if it's a bad song, I'm just gonna, no, I don't even want your expectations to think it's coming. It's not happening. Like somebody be like, can you play WAP? No, there's 90, 70-year-olds here. I'm not playing WAP. Sorry.
It goes like this. Conversation comes. Person walks up, says, are you taking requests tonight? And I literally look at them with a straight face and I say, probably not, but you can tell me anyway.
Right.
And I smile at them and they're like, you're not going to take the request or you are? And I'm like, it depends if it's a good song or not. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you want me to play? What are you asking me for? And they're like, I honestly, I forgot. I don't even know what I was going to ask you. I'll come back. I'm like, all right, figure it out. Come back,
Perfect. So I'm posting up your socials right now. So if anybody wants to kind of see Jason, is your YouTube, is this correct?
I think so. I think so. I don't know if I was able to get that or if it says Jason Jenni Media at the end of it. I honestly, I have to look. Let me see.
Let me take a look.
I should know this, and it's because I had to adjust things. I'm like so humbled by the platform. It's just it's an interesting space. I'm obsessed with it too. It's like I feel like I love it right now.
I think it's Jason Jenni.
Is it
from?
Okay.
I think so.
Jason,
well, I just
it's youtube.com/C Jason Jenni Media / hold on, let me see if it just goes this way. youtube.com/Jason. I think I tried to get that, but I don't know if it happened. Yeah, so if it would be Jason, youtube.com Jason Jenni Media.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. We will change that. He is probably posting more than I am right now. Because I just well, so I actually shot 4 videos last week, and then I went back to check the videos, and all of audio was distorted,
Oh, yeah.
all of it. So now I got to go back and redo it. But it is what it is. It's the normally I wouldn't care, but like one of them was literally about the microphone, and I just had it too high, didn't realize it. So I'm like, compare the Rhodes to the Comica, and here are the Rhodes that sound great. I'm like, now listen to the Comica, and it's like, I'm like, I can't post this video because they're really good. It was a user error, it's me. So you can find him on Jason Jenni Media. You can also find him on all socials, which I assume are just Jason Jenni.
Jason Jenni, yeah.
Perfect. Everybody in the chat, throw the ones in the chat. Throw the Jason Jenni in the chat. Throw whatever you want in the chat.
Yeah.
Just show a little love for what we've done today. How long until they notice I already put it up? We're too busy engaged in our conversation.
Oh yeah,
Sorry, T Diesel.
Thank you, Diesel.
But thank you, appreciate that. Jason, so you have a new video up today. So everybody
put up this morning about requests just because I got like a couple of I had a couple of situations present itself over the weekend, but I also saw that video that Chris Villa shared with like the Asian DJ that threw into the crowd. I was like, I gotta just do this. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a longer video, but I story tell a little bit, and I try to like share content that's based on like real things that have happened to me, and like that's my whole thing. You know, it's like, you know, I'm just trying to pay it forward and to give people things to think about that, you know, I weren't there when I started DJing. You know, I wish someone helped me the way I have put content out there.
I agree. You know,
not there, you know.
People that always say, yeah, you're too wordy, or just give us the facts. I'm like, well, you know, trust me when I tell you, you'll retain this story version more than you will ever retain facts. You know, so I'm gonna talk.
Yeah.
Get over it. Okay, so and as far as Twitch is concerned, do you have any time that you're going to be back on?
You know what? I've been thinking about it, but right now I am so overwhelmed. Like that's my Twitch studio is like over behind that. It's like against the wall right now. Like everything is down. I need to get back on at least a weekly pop up, and you know, I was having a lot of fun doing some of the throwback stuff, and whether it be house or hip hop or R&B or not, like just I was really enjoying that. I need to get back up on it, but it's twitch.tv/Jason_Jenni. That's like the channel on there, and I'll throw out some more subs before we bounce out of here. And I just appreciate everybody's time and support and attention. I appreciate this, CT, and shout out to everybody. Like, just awesome.
You know, I appreciate you coming on, honestly, and I will say this: like, it's not like Jason and I have conversations all the time, but because of Twitch, because of COVID, I consider Jason a friend, and that would have never happened before. You know, so I appreciate him. I respect what he's done and what he has to say. It's, you know, always learn from people that are doing more than you, because they've obviously succeeded, and listen to them. It's key.
No, it's funny. I don't even know how we first linked up, but I remember I sent you a message and I was like, bro, I just appreciate like what you're putting out there. Like, you know, like I didn't even know what was going, like cause I'm not someone that like ever really used YouTube like that, you know, like, and I know people are doing things, and I'm like, you know, and like, I know that you started getting involved with DMS and Warren, and I'm like, who is this dude? So I started looking at it, and I think I saw something. I'm like, yo, that was actually really good. Like, you know, yeah, he's legit. It's cool, you know, and like, I appreciate that. Same with like a lot of the guys that are on YouTube, you know, like Bar is in my area. I see him from that time.
Right.
And like, you know, like I didn't even know he had this whole thing going on. And Rick Webb, I knew when he started his thing, and I like, you know, like he supported me way back when, you know, and I'm like, dude, it's so good to see people grow. And like, you know, like Eric helped me with all this crazy stuff with my thing. And like, you know, like the Whoopig, like I saw his video. I'm like, yo, that's a great freaking video idea. Like, like these are like people that have spent a lot of time and energy. And I respect it more than I've always been someone that will pay it forward and also like share the love, because I feel like our industry needs more of that than less of it, you know? So if I see something good, I'm the first one to be like, yo, this is fire. Like, check this out. You know? And I just, I appreciate you. I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate everybody. It's just awesome to kick it with everyone. So
No, yeah. Honestly, I appreciate that. And that's why, I mean, I'm all about sharing the love. I think a lot of people always get weird when you like when I started YouTube and they're like, why would you tell people this? Why would you do this? Why would you say that? Now they're gonna what? I have been doing this now. This is what, my fourth year, and I will tell you, for the most part, everything that I have said, I have not seen one person come up and like overtake me from a DJ business perspective. You know, people
I
they
I hate that. I hate when people are like, "Oh, but you're gonna lose it." It's like if I'm gonna lose it, then I wasn't doing it right.
right.
I then I should be doing it better. And I don't know. I feel like the more that people share and the more that people put out there, the more we all grow. Look at Twitch as an example. Like, look at what has happened to the people that invested their time and then
Yes.
started collabing up. And look at the mountains that opened up for some people. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
it's insane. It's life changing. You know what I mean? Look at Alex. Look at Audio One, DMS Family. Like,
Yes.
he
Huge.
had things happen to him incredible. And then he had the worst thing happen to him and like basically disappeared because of everything that happened and then came back. And the way people like embraced him and supported him the entire time. It's like
Hmm.
I love that. I love it. I love a good story. And I feel like this right now, like there's a time where you can either throw shade and be one of them, or you can like inspire people to push up and to grow and support people. And I want to be one of the good. I want to be one of the good, you know?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at Steve's.
What do you say?
CT's next guest should be Brian S. Rudd. There's a history with Brian and I.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. But that's actually very funny. So look, I know I've kept you longer than you needed to. Jason, thank you so much for
Right.
hanging out today.
I appreciate it, man. I'll give you a shout later on after I get through my evening of
So, do your
chaos.
thing. You're good, man. You're good. You're right.
Thank you
All
for
right, buddy.
I
We're
appreciate
gonna
it.
sign you off, ladies and gentlemen. Jason Jenni. We'll talk to you soon, pal.
Thanks, everybody. All right.
All
Take
right.
care.
Peace. All right, Jason Jenni in the building. I thought that was absolutely fantastic, and of course, Jason just dropped another 20 piece. Jason, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Honestly, appreciate you. Uh, like I was saying before, I mean, you know, it's one of those things that it's like it's the one thing that I've actually appreciated the most out of COVID. If you can look at the positives for COVID, it's that. It's literally creating all these new relationships with people. This completely changed. It not only changed it not only opened the door for everybody out there, but it kind of changed my perspective because it allowed me to see what other people were doing, what other people were dealing with, and changed everything. Like legitimately changed everything. So I appreciate everybody that's on here, and that's what this show is for. Wednesdays, Wednesdays are for this kind of help, this kind of either learning something new or learning about something that you didn't know existed before. That's what Wednesdays are, and that's what I love. So Wednesdays interviews. Tomorrow, as always, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are doing Tech Thursday. We'll talk about all things tech related. It'll be a good time as always. Hope to see everybody there. But now I got phone calls to make. I got clients to call. It's been a long day already. Got my workout in, got my interview on. I got phone calls to make. I got YouTube videos to edit up. Good time. Good time. All right, y'all. So we will see you later. Let's see who we are going to uh, raid out to on the Twitch side. Let's see who we got. Let's raid out to. Let's raid out to. Let's go. You know who we haven't raided in a while? Let's raid out to Mojax. Let's go hit up Mojax here. Because we have not. And why not? See if he's still on. All right. Let's set up this raid. We're going to go raid Mojax. You guys know what to do. Throw out those emotes. I know a lot of you guys are subs today. So throw out those emotes. Let Mojax know where you came from. Show love. Show some support. And as always, Disco Jerry said, don't go. I got to go. I've been on here for a long time. We will do Tech Thursday tomorrow for anybody that just popped in just now. So everybody else, we're raiding out right now. We'll see you soon. Thank you guys for hanging out. See you tomorrow. Peace out.